You all have been in the thick of this war for what seems like an eternity, but in reality has been less than a day. The night before, you were part of the elite group, part of an elite company of skyjackers, airships flying at high altitude just above cloud cover, dropping you in with single-use featherfall spell, various things. Some of you had old boots. Some of you had broken umbrellas. Some of you had a handkerchief. All of these things are enchanted with a single-use featherfall spell so that you can drop out of the sky and surprise your enemies from above. But something went wrong. The enemy seemed to know you were coming, and arcane blasts were happening all over the place. Dirigibles were being shot out of the sky, exploding around you. And you bailed from your airships as quickly as you could. Goblins everywhere, scattered all over the countryside. Your forces consisted primarily of a massive swell of goblins, as well as hobgoblins, gnolls, and bugbears. You are to be the vanguard preceding the orc mariners that are transporting the additional gnoll infantry along with the elite jackalware forces that are supposed to hit on the beachhead. It took you a while to get together with the rest of your crew, and in fact, many of your company are missing or unaccounted for, and you formed up with pieces of other companies as you are sitting in a improvised command center. Of course, the hobgoblins have taken over the leadership role and formed up various squads. After your long, arduous trek through the countryside to meet up, you were all a bit worn and tired. And right now, you are the ruins of a farmhouse. There's probably about 30 of you, a couple of bugbear and hobgoblin commanders are milling about. And that's when you see the hobgoblin that you know as Captain Winterwolf. He's a grizzled and scarred hobgoblin. You've performed a few missions with this hobgoblin before, and you know his reputation. And as he walks in, you feel a booted foot kick you in the side, Grumblow, waking you from your slumber.
I dreamt of booms. Son, sir, Richard.
And you hear those booms. You can actually hear not too far away with regularity. You hear.
I try everything not to be distracted, but my eyes are just completely locked over there as I'm standing there saluting him.
And I've told you not to salute me in the field.
Okay.
Knock that shit off. Look alive, Sleazy Company. We got a mission. He looks around at all the goblins assembled. And don't bother sticking your nose pickers in the air to volunteer, because I've already picked out my gobos. He kicks you again, Grumblow. Grumblow!
Yes, sir!
To me.
Okay. I stand next to his side.
Crisp. Rasputin.
Yes, sir.
Oh, come on.
Spoon Eye.
Yes, of course. Yes. And he puts down like a scroll with a bunch of scribbles of designs down, rolls it up real quickly. Never enough time. Never enough time, jamming it into his bandolier.
And he starts looking around. Where the hell's Gutstabber?
Yeah. He's like standing right behind the captain, right behind his leg. Here, what? What's it want?
And he kind of starts. God, you're always doing that. You're like a shadow moving around. I never know where you are. I need the 5 of you with me right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he, without preamble, he just starts walking away to just inside this farmhouse.
Do we get to burn anything this time, sir?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Oh, do we get to burn anything this time, sir?
Your time to burn, kill, and explode is coming up real quick.
Oh, tell me more about the killing.
As we go to the barn, I lay down a little mine. Essentially, if anyone comes to interrupt us, I'm going to be casting Cloud of Daggers. It's a shrapnel mine.
He just kind of casts his shoulder over at you. God damn it, you know you don't need to protect against our own.
That you never know.
But I appreciate the effort.
He just slowly picks up the mine and he goes, "Okay."
Now, which one of you snot rockets would consider yourself to be the leader? Don't everybody speak up at once.
So before I see Grumpy's hand going up, and Gutstabber just gives him this look, which is, I will stab your gut.
As my hand goes up, instead of continuing up, I just start putting it up my nose.
Gutstabber will look around at the rest of them, and he's kind of just like trying to size up if anyone's going to speak.
I just like killing goodies. I'm not interested in leading nobody.
Explode the goodies!
And this is
is probably maybe the smartest one here, apart from Sprunai, he thinks. And so he's like looking at him and thinking, it's either me or you.
What are you talking about? I'm...
Yeah, Sprunai kind of like looks around like, are people expecting me to do this kind of thing? Like, he's not stepping forward. You've been with Sprunai before. You know he prefers requisitions and forms to leading.
This is a pretty common power struggle or lack thereof. It's always a question when asked who's in charge of whether goblins are going to scrabble for the leadership or shirk the duty completely. It seems you've only got one ambitious goblin amongst you.
Crisp is leader.
Me? Okay. You said so, Gutstabber. I's be a leader now. I says when to bans and when not to bans things.
Don't mess it up.
Yes. So what do we do, boss?
All of you better listen up. Because if whichever one of you claims to be in charge here dies, and you probably will, the rest of you better know what to do.
Okay.
Now you hear that booming? I know you hear it, Grumblo. It still persists. Them goody two-shoes are less than a click away, probably about 500 meters up the road. They've got at least 2 pyrotechnic arcane, I don't know what they are. They're big giant guns. That's what we know.
I love that.
and they're blasting the beachhead where the orcs are supposed to be bringing in the gnolls. And with those guns in place, the rest of our armies aren't going to be able to land. So I need you to get in there and eliminate those guns.
We take some.
We take them and we explode them.
We
Or
keep
turn
some.
them around.
Keep some. Keep some, boss. Keep.
They're awful big.
Well,
Ice
we
big.
are awful small.
No eyes big for Goblin. And he's like stands possibly like half an inch taller than maybe the other goblins here, and he thinks he's a giant.
I'll tell you what. You can carry one of them or find a way to bring it back, then you do so.
Yes,
Anything
sir.
else you find, you bring back. We don't know for sure who it is that's manning the guns, but we think it's the short, hairy ones.
Dwarves?
The dwarves is, yes. I think that's what they're called.
They taste good.
They're too
Any of
big
you
to
speak
toughen.
dwarves?
I took some in college.
What is college?
Is where I learned to explode.
This guy's a smart ass.
Kick him, boss.
He turns his back on Grumblo, and as he goes to take a step, he gives you a heel kick to the shin. You're going to proceed southeast of here through the gardens, and about 400 meters up over the hill is a burned out barn. One of the airships crashed into it last night. Just beyond there is where the guns are. We know they got at least 2 guns. We suspect they've got a guard of at least 1 ballista crew. You can expect at least a 3rd gun. Beyond that, we don't know what you're going to face. You're going to want to make sure you got Grumblo's explodies with you and any other dynamites you can carry if you're going to blow up them guns. Now I got one question for you. Why in the hell are you still standing around here? I gave you an order. Get moving.
Grumblo runs for the door.
Yes, boss. Right away, boss.
Ooh-ah.
Time to do some explodies.
Get the goodies.
We burns now. We burns thing.
We burns, we explode, we stab, we get goodies.
And
We has all the fun.
Captain Winterwolf steps outside as you, following all of you, and he just points in the direction, which you know you can hear the cannons repeatedly blasting from that direction. And he just points you in that direction.
Let's go, Sleazy Company. We move.
I follow curtly behind Crisp. He's probably my best friend among this group because we do the most similar things.
Yeah, we understand each other.
Lead on, fearless leader.
Yeah, about that, I thought maybe you, Rash Tooting and Godstaba, could, go first and scout. I mean, it's an order.
Can't say no to that.
Spring gets like next to you and he's like sniffing. You telling me or asking me?
It
I'm
sounded like he was telling you. He said it's
I'm
an order.
and the smell is maybe smoke, I think. Sorry about that. Now off you go.
There better be goodies to kill.
Sprue and I will be the last goblin out, dragging behind him an enormous sack of goodies that he has no reason to actually bring with him to the battle lines unless somebody stops him. He's just going to drag this huge backpack behind him the whole way. He'll stop by the captain before leaving. He goes, Captain, here. And he hands him like a hermit crab shell.
What the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Sending stones. We'll tell you exactly when we turn those cannons around. That way, if we want to finish off the hairy, short humans, we could just swoop in and flay their flesh in front of their allies. It'll break morale. It'll be genius.
And then we could roast it, and it'll be delicious.
I like to do flash cooking.
That's raw.
I like to singe my meat.
Well, you better get going if you plan to eat any flesh. And he slips the hermit crab shell into inside his tunic behind his armor.
So it's the sending stones for the way 5e works. It looks like one person can activate it, and then both stones don't work till dawn. So if the captain decides to yell at us before we activate it to tell him, we might be out of luck.
All right, so you guys know you've got to move through these gardens and up over the hill. You're able to move along a hedgerow. And everybody, it looks like a couple of you have already rolled stealth. Sprunai, if you're dragging a sack of crap with you, you're going to roll at disadvantage.
Okay.
And it looks like you're moving primarily through, even where the farmhouse where you were, you cross through about you cross through about 2 or 3 farmsteads. As you're moving along, and you see, before long, you see the, actually in just a few minutes, you see the burned out, still smoldering farmhouse with the wreckage of one of the airships. And on the ground all around it, you see the charred remains of several of your goblin brothers from Sleazy Company.
Grumbo gives them a soft salute as he pass. You will be avenged.
Grumblo, what'd you get for stealth?
I feel like you're not gonna believe me, but I got a 20 on my first. I'm sending a picture because it's ridiculous.
That looks like everybody's pretty stealthy.
Sneak.
So you guys are able to
crit. And that 20.
Oh, that's good.
All right.
Yeah, you guys are moving. Like I said, you guys are experienced soldiers. You are moving in and around the vegetation and using your small size to your advantage. The smallest of you can practically hide behind some of the larger broadleaf plants that are growing in these farmsteads. And as you get to the edge of where this burned out farm is, it's actually a burned out barn. And you can see just beyond it, about 30 feet, is it's partially collapsed, but there's a barbed wire fence. And about another 100 feet beyond that, you actually, as you hear it, you can see a gout of flame in the muzzle flash from a cannon just beyond that. To see what else you can see, you'll need to move into a vantage point, and anybody that investigate can do so.
So Goodstab is going to move forward and try and climb some of the burnt barn, if you can climb to the top and get a better view.
Okay.
Grumblo will do the same.
Anybody that's going to climb, go ahead and give me a athletics check.
Could I argue for acrobatics if I'm like parkouring my way up there?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Then it's a 28.
I will also argue for acrobatics.
I will do the same.
Oh boy, I got an 8 this time.
We've all got the
And
same
I
character,
got a
right?
6.
So So, Gut Stabba, you parkour off of the burning remains of this airship, and you actually, I imagine you find yourself, you perch up on like a single board that's charred, but it's actually firm, sticking up probably about 15 feet, and you just deftly and silently just, and you look like you're a part of the wreckage. And then the other two attempt to mimic your moves, and they both try. They make it up the airship wreckage. They get to the railing, and they both try to jump on the same board, and they collide midair. And I need both of you to make a dexterity saving throw.
22.
Let's see, that's a 13. Nope, excuse me, 15.
Okay.
My bad.
So though you collide, you land in amongst the a lot of the ash, and Grumblow, you actually land in the exposed rib cage of a deceased bugbear commander from the airship crew, and that's what breaks your fall and prevents you from making excessive noise.
Grumlar goes, this is much cozier than I expected.
Rasputin looks over at Spurnai. Oh man, where's gonna dies with these guys?
Yes, of
All right.
course. And Spurnai's just digging through his bag, and he pulls out some navigator tools. And what I'd like to do is see if I can figure out a good way around this area. Like, basically, I'm just using them to do a perception check of the area. I'm using the completely wrong tools, though.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and impose disadvantage on myself here.
All right.
Watch your back.
And
I don't
go
wanna do
ahead, Gut Stab.
He's using a sextant like it's a telescope for some reason. It's just terrible.
Gut Stabba, give me perception or investigation at advantage because of your perch. And what is Rasputin and Crisp? Well, I know what Crisp is doing. What's Rasputin doing?
Rasputin assumes that Spurnai knows what he's doing, so he's going to basically be using his musket to give him cover and make sure nobody sneaks up on him.
So, Spurnai, scanning the area, by some miracle, you just happen to, looking through this sextant, you just happen to catch a subtle movement beyond the trees, and probably about 120 feet away, maybe, or less, you see, you spot a ballista crew. They've got some bushes kind of put up around the base of this ballista, but you can see two dwarves that are standing there leaning against it. It looks like you can't really tell from here if it's locked and loaded or ready to go, but they look like they're ready.
Okay. Spurnai will take the goggles on his head and like snap them onto his face. They are dark vision goggles, and they extend me out to 120 feet. Am I clearly able to see if the ballista is loaded or not now?
I don't think I ever said what time of day it was. What time of day does everybody think it is?
I
think it's probably like gray and shitty because it's war.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping dark vision helps a little.
Okay. I realized I neglected to tell you what time of day it was at the beginning. So, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's that war-hazed, foggy gray. Everything almost looks desaturated. And what are you trying to see with the goggles?
Just if the ballista is preloaded. Because it's going to flavor what I say next, essentially.
Yeah, with that previous check and with the addition of these goggles, you're able to see clearly the ballista bolt that is not chambered, but railed, I guess. And you can see that there's at least two more ballista bolts at the ready access on either side of the firing rail. Go ahead.
And being kind of an elite company, I assume that there's some sort of like hand signs and like Sprunai knows the hand sign for ballista. It looks like what humans do when they want to mimic a bird or a butterfly. So like Sprunai just like holds up his hands and goes pointing towards the direction of it.
Grumblo looks over to Sprunai and he points at Wristrock and he goes,
Rashtutin's right next to you. Would he? I think he would pick up on which direction that you're looking, and just
I think the intent was to signal Rashtutin, and then the other one got it instead.
Everybody noticed. So you're right. Rashtutin would just get excited. He'd be like, goodies, oh goodies, 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 and he would kind of start just creeping in that direction, trying to be stealthy, not able to contain himself.
And while they're doing this down below, Gutstabba, you have a clear view from your vantage point. There's some taller trees out here that are blocking some of your view, but you can actually see that about less than 100 feet away, the dwarves appear to have dug a trench that zigzags across to the east. You see about maybe 100 feet immediately to the south, you see that one of their guns, these large cannons, is manned by 3 dwarves and is pointing to the west. And then kind of southeast and all along this zigzagging channel, you see 2 more cannon that are pointing directly towards the beachhead, which you know is about less than 2 kilometers away. And these cannons, every time they fire, it's just a deafening, and a gout of flame shoots out of them. And you can just make out the shadow of a large steel projectile shooting out of these things. Each gun looks like it's manned by 3 to 4 people. All of them dwarves, and each one seems to have somebody that's in charge. One dwarf that seems to be barking orders. You can just kind of make out these as they're barking orders to the various crew. You can see just beyond where they've dug this trench, kind of following a windbreak of trees. You see a good 70 yards of or 70 feet, not 70 yards, 70 feet of just open, flat field with a hedgerow just beyond that. So you have a pretty clear view. This trench, as far as you can see to what would be to your left, the 3rd gun, looks to be about all contained within, there's probably about 50 feet between each gun. So there's a little, maybe 100, 125 feet that you can see.
Okay, so he takes all that in, and he would look down at the rest of them and try and get their attention, and he would do the same sort of ridiculous sign language, suggesting, which is 3 dwarves at each one, and then he's looking very intensely at the cannons. Is there barrels of powder and stuff near them, or do they load a bunch of powder into the cannons?
From what you can see, they are the one dwarf that's barking orders is commands one of them to move to the front. Somebody puts something in the cannon. Another one takes a big stick and shoves it down in there. And then another one takes a heavy ball and drops it inside. And then the commander of the crew takes a stick that kind of looks like a cigar and touches it to a fuse. And then the explosion happens. And they just repeat this. And the guns seem to be firing intermittently.
Okay. So against Gutstabba's deepest desire to just murder dwarves immediately from this high vantage, he could definitely shoot one. He decides it's not good for the mission. And so he looks down at the rest of them And he begins to climb down so he can explain to them because no one understands the sign language that they actually use.
Meanwhile, Rasputin had begun sneaking toward the ballista crew. How close are you going to try to get, Rasputin?
Not very close. I'm just going to try to get through the haze of fog. And once I see the gun go off again, I think that would pretty much stop me in my track. So maybe, how far is Sprunai from the gun, you said? 120 something?
No, you guys are only about 60 feet away from the where the ballista was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have heard the range of his sight. I apologize. Then I'm probably only going to basically creep up like 10 feet, lay on the ground with my musket under me, like in a sniper position.
All right, give me a stealth check.
Okay, that is 16.
Yeah, you're able to get in a little bit closer, and you can see this ballista crew just on the other side of. They seem to be kind of their ballista set low to the ground, just on the other side of the trench.
And Rasputin is just kind of he's like kind of caressing his musket barrel, and he's going, "Oh, it's okay. We're gonna shoot it. I promise. We're gonna shoot it. We just gotta wait till he says. As soon as they says, I'm gonna shoot it. Just wait." But he can barely contain himself.
So as you come down off your perch, Gut Stab, you see Rasputin laying on the ground, stroking his barrel.
Oh, we got to kill. I'll go behind. You shoot. They look here. I cut.
Right. I have two big booms that could easily explode the ballista.
No. More. Runt, stunties. There. We must be quiet. They're here. Kill quiet. And then boom.
Okay, I use big booms on the big gun.
Yes.
Big booms. Okay. I have two.
Not now.
Okay.
Right, sir? He says, looking at the bus.
Crisp is just gonna, since he's been lying in the suit and ashes for a few minutes, he'll just cover himself, just in the hopes of being more stealthy, but knowing it maybe it's not going to do a difference, but he likes those kind of things, bath of ashes, everything. So I'm just gonna do some lines and everything, and like looking commando, and just gonna stay in line with Gutstabber and Rasputin and everyone, and say, now let's go, we kills and burns now. I'm the boss and I said so.
Boss. Listen, look.
Yes.
He's like doing the look at my eyes. Look.
Yeah, I do it.
Yeah. Here, only few. Over there, many. With big gun. Here, quiet. There, boom.
Yes.
No boom here.
No. Just
boom there.
Just little sparks.
Okay, no boom.
Sparksies.
But no boom here. Boom over there. No boom here.
Yes. Tiny burns.
Okay.
You see Grumblow playing with his wrist rocket.
Okay, boss. Where we boom? And he's like trying to make the boss tell him the plan.
We booms and burns the big booms.
Yes, and you good boss. And he like slaps him on the shoulder, pats him on the back.
Okay.
Hey, wait, but I'm still gonna go bang bang here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But shh.
Oh, bang bangs.
Wait till they shoot big gun, then you shoot your little gun.
Oh, I wait a little while.
When big gun, then you can, and then they won't hear. And I imagine this is all just being shouted because we're goblins. So it's
We think we're quiet.
Yeah, we're just speaking, and then there's a load of dwarves just circling us while we're arguing.
Believe it or not, the dwarves on the ballista haven't heard a thing. I just rolled a 1 on their perception.
Worse than me.
So I'm going to do something here, a little out of the ordinary. I want you guys to tell me your initiative order.
Okay.
So don't
I
have to
think
roll
he's
for.
telling us to.
You don't have to roll for initiative. I want you guys to decide
sorry.
what order you're going to attack in.
I think we're gonna have Gutbusta move up for the furthest, and he's gonna initiate by stab. There's 3 ballista workers,
There's
right?
1 ballista.
Oh, there's 1 ballista. How many of the crew are there?
There's at least 3 cannons.
No, I'm
a
asking
ballista is a
How many dwarves
a
on the
ballista. Oh, how many are on the ballista?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the crew size?
The ballista crew is 2 dwarves.
Okay.
Okay, so we really don't even need anyone else to act. It's Gutbusta and Gutstabba. Excuse me. It's Gutstabba and Rashtuten, I think, are the only 2 people who need to act in this scenario, where they both attack during a boom from the cannons, and that's pretty much it. Because that if they don't kill those 2 right then we're going into an all-out frenzy, and then it won't matter.
I mean,
Okay, so
I'm okay with
who's
going
going
third because I'm gonna fish a light crossbow out of this ginormous bag that I'm dragging around the battlefield.
Yep, perfect.
All right. So who's going to actually take the first shot?
I would like to, because if I go first, it's really good for me as an assassin.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right, so it's going to go Gutstabba, Rashtuten, then Sprunai, and then
I've got a crossbow too, so I'll go for it.
so Crisp, and then followed by Grumblo.
Nothing
then-
I have is inconspicuous.
That's why I
Yeah,
switched
that's when
to
you
the
go
crossbow.
last.
I think
Yeah.
Ray of Frost is the most silent thing I have.
See, if they're not dead when it comes to you, then you can definitely blow them up. But hopefully that won't happen.
Yeah.
All right, so as the situation dictates, I'm going to shift some of the enemies around, but overall, you guys got the drop. Just because of bad perception on their part and excellent stealth rolls. So you will all act before anybody else. And yeah, you can defer your moves or hold your turns or dodge or whatever in between. So yeah, go ahead and what are you guys going to do?
So Gutstabba would then begin creeping through the underbrush. He would has this well-oiled sort of short stabbing blade that he would pull out of a scabbard as he's moving, put it between his teeth, and kind of crawl along the ground towards the dwarves. And he would wait for them to look in the other direction, and then at the last second would pounce and just stab one in the neck, hopefully. So will I need to roll for stealth to approach like that?
Yeah, roll stealth.
It's a 28. Plus 10 to stealth. And I rolled an 18.
You're barely moving the blades of grass as you move along.
Ridiculous. I'm the first rogue ever, and I'm beginning to see why people love them. So then if I attack something that hasn't acted yet, I have advantage on the attack. And if this a dwarf is surprised, it's an automatic critical hit.
Mm-hmm.
So with my advantage, it would be not too good. It would just be a 15 to hit.
Which one are you attacking? The gunner or what appears to be an assistant gunner?
The gunner is who I would go for.
Yeah, he's got his hands actually on the ballista. So you were going for him, and the 15 you said?
Yeah.
That is going to be a hit.
Excellent. Okay. So then with sneak attack and a crit.
Luckily, it was not deflected by his beard.
Yeah, thankfully. That's happened before. I'm actually going to use Dice Roller for this because I'm not rolling this in 86s.
beards be the dwarf most powerful tool.
So it's, oh my goodness, it's going to be 35 points of damage.
Oh my god!
How do you assassinate this dwarven gunner?
Yeah, so he's got the knife between his teeth, and he's like creeping up, barely moving the grass, and he like waits for the gunner to like turn away, and it's at that moment that he like crawls out of the grass. You wouldn't even see him, even if you're looking, and he just like stands up right behind him. He like grabs the front of the dwarf's beard and lifts it up, and then just like draws the dagger across his throat, and then like puts his hand over the dwarf's mouth and brings him down to the ground.
Excellent. Rasputin.
So Rasputin is sitting there. He's waiting. He's super eager, but he doesn't even see Gutstaba even do any of this. He's just watching, but it's so stealthy that he just completely misses it.
He just sees the
But
dwarf
then-
take a nap.
He's just watching, waiting, and then I imagine somebody else might give him a kick to let him know to go.
Yeah, because at this point, as this happens, the assistant gunner actually turns and kind of does one of these like, "What? Where'd you go?" He's like, "Hey, that's on."
Grumblo goes to Rasputin. Do a shoot, dang it!
Oh, you're the big bang! And he fires with a 12 plus 7, 19.
That's gonna hit.
And he is going to do... that is 14 damage to the assistant gunner.
So you shoot him. I imagine as he kind of turned, you shot him in the shoulder, and he actually does a spin, and he drops to a knee, but he doesn't fall completely. And as he gets hit, he kind of gives out a in between the blasts of the cannons, and you start to hear some more commotion in between the blasts.
And Rasputin just takes the musket, kind of brings it, and starts kissing it. Oh, good girl, good girl. You shot him. Oh, you shot the goodie. And then he's going to use his other action to just start reloading it.
All right. Sprunai.
So is the dwarf still screaming out and like dying, or is it dead?
Oh no,
Well,
he's
just got
he's
shot.
kind of on his knee, and he's calling out half in pain, and you see him actually like trying to raise his arm, and he's like looking away to his right, and he seems to be trying to flag down somebody.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take a
He's
shot.
yelling,
He's calling for help.
You shoot him now.
Gustav's head like pops up, and he was like, "You were supposed to fucking kill him."
Yeah, Sprunai mutters 3.6 seconds too late. And he pulls the trigger on the crossbow, which is a light crossbow, but it's still almost a little too heavy for this goblin. So the whole thing just shudders as the string snaps. That is a 17 to hit.
That's going to be a hit.
That's going to be 18 points of damage from sharpshooter.
So how do you kill the assistant gunner of the ballista?
Sprunai is all about precision and accuracy and things being like timely. So he's already notices that the dwarf is behind, so he adjusts his aim a little bit. And as the arrow flies, you can see that the arrow just cuts across the jugular and finally finishes off this dwarf, cutting his windpipe so that it chokes off the screams for help.
Nice. All right, the ballista crew is down. Crisp.
Great jobs, everyone. So now, do we get to Burns and Booms, the big boom booms? And he turns to Gutstabber and everyone, and
Gutstab is about 60 feet away. Gutstab is about 60 feet away at the ballista.
Yeah, he's really far. Well, I'll turn to everyone else then. I mean,
Yes, move in, but I have a plan.
Hurry up! They might have noticed that died because he didn't die quick. What are you saying? Go!
Of course. And he goes back, grabs the bag, and starts dragging it again.
And I think Rasputin will be like at about Sprue and I's distance behind as well, because he just kind of finished loading his gun, which should take a little bit longer than what we had left.
Crisp, are you going to take any movement or other action?
Yeah, I'm gonna, regroup. I think is there somewhere in particular where we would have, a good stealthy position?
Stealth is kind of moot at this point as the guy that was dying kind of raised the alarm, and you can hear several more dwarven voices calling out. And Gut Stabber, you can actually see that from where you're at the ballista, you actually have a clear view all along this trench line, and you can see that all the way to the east, another 50 feet beyond the third gun, there's a fourth gun in the trees, and you can see there's one gun to your left about 40 feet, one gun to your right about 25 feet. The trench is immediately in front of you.
Yikes.
At this point, when he's grabbing his bag and he's slowly coming over, I'm like, "That's it, Chris! Set fire to one of the guns. I'm gonna set fire to one of the other ones." And I load in the largest round that I have into my wrist rocket, which is essentially a fireball, and I'm going to be waiting for his command to fire.
I do the same thing, but it's not a wrist rocket. It's a real fireball. And, I'm just going to take off my red leather hat. I'm just going to put my hand in it, and a fireball is going to come out. And I'm just going to, point one of the cannons for Grumblow to shoot, and I'll shoot another one, maybe in opposite
From where
positions.
you're at, neither of you have a clear shot at a cannon. You guys are still back by the burned out farm.
Okay, then I'll use my move action to get a clear shot on one of the cannons.
Pretty much the same here.
If you move to, what's your speed? Is it 25?
30 feet.
30?
Mine is also 30.
Okay. Couldn't remember what goblin speed was. 30 feet, if you follow a direct line, actually, no matter what line you take, you're still not going to have a clear shot at a cannon. You're going to get about halfway.
Okay.
You can see where they are. You can take a shot at disadvantage, but you're going to be shooting through the trees, basically.
Grumblow would not take that shot. He's gonna move low along the ground and line up his shot for whenever he can take a fully advantaged shot.
Yeah, if we can't have a good shot of on the cannons, I'll pretty much postpone the action. But I guess the best thing would be to take a double move and regroup with.
If you take a double move, you would be able to get all the way to the trench or across it to the ballista where Gut Stab is. But double move will actually get you to the trench.
If we take a double move, if we go to the ballista, do we have clean shots on all the ballista? Not ballista, the cannons?
You don't know from where you are.
We probably would on the reinforcements, though.
Yeah, I'll go to the ballista, and see what I can see from there.
Same here. I'm not gonna split and go in the trench alone, so it's gonna be the ballista.
Well, just to be clear, the trench is immediately in front of the ballista.
Okay.
And you have to cross it to get to the ballista.
Okay. Oh, then never mind. I'm just gonna stick in the trench then until I have a better idea of what's around me, because at least the trench is slightly defended or defensible.
I'm gonna see if you guys can see this.
Ooh.
Ish.
So this is your approach. This is where you came down from the farmhouse. The red X here is the ballista. This is the southwestern cannon. The trench line runs all along here. and this is the south, the next cannon to the east. Tree line through here. Gut Stabber, you're the only one that can see that the gun line continues on this way.
Okay.
So hopefully, I should have made something up to show you guys digitally, but this should. I mean,
Yeah, that works.
this way.
Helps. Definitely helps.
Yeah.
So
A bit of spatial awareness of where you guys are, and the trench is deep enough that anybody standing in the trench will get half cover. Crouching in the trench, you guys are goblins, so you could get full cover crouched in a trench.
yeah, I'm gonna move into the trench and crouch, and then next turn it looks like I'm gonna be able to take a clear shot from that diagram.
I would like to try something very goblin-y. I have proficiency with disguise kits, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the beard off the dwarf and put his clothes on.
Oh my
Does he have a helmet on or like a hat?
God damn it! I had the same plan. I was dragging my bag over there with my disguise kit and everything.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the dwarves are all wearing these metallic hats with spikes on them.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'll grab that and I'll use my like incredibly sharp blade to like cut off the beard, and then I'll just use a bit of my hideous like yellowy snot spit to like stick it to my face, and I'll put on his clothes, and then I'll like try and affect the stance of a dwarf, which I think means being fat and standing upright, and so I'm gonna like I'm just gonna like make dwarfy noises as I approach the nearest cannon.
Before you do that, while you're putting this on, go ahead and give me.
I have proficiency with disguise kit, so would that be it?
Yeah, I'm just. How do you roll a disguise kit? What is that?
It's just your proficiency.
It's the tool proficiency.
Yeah. So do give me a performance check.
Oh boy.
Calling out Rob, who I know was briefly in the chat. If he's not there still.
Okay, it's actually not bad. It's going to be a 16 minus 1, so 15.
Okay, that's good enough. That with the stealthy way you came up here, I would imagine to anybody's eyes, they saw the dwarf gunner drop and then get back up. But from the hedgerow about 60 feet beyond you, arrows come flying. You can hear the whistling sound, Gut Stabber, as they sail past the ballista. Those of you that are in the trench, what's your position in the trench?
I'm gonna say crouched.
Yeah, crouched.
Yeah, and I'm gonna yell, "Get into the trench now! It's an orders."
So the two of you that are in the trench, two arrows thunk into the wood behind you, like they just came over the edge of the trench and went right over your head and thunk into the wood that's making up the trench wall. However, Sprunai and Rashtuten are out on the other side, and that's going to be Sprunai. An arrow just sails over your head, and Rashtuten, another arrow, thunk into the ground right next to your head, missing you.
Their bang bang's no good.
So now, Gut Stabber, you can do the rest of what you were going to do.
No problem. So I'll like let out a dwarven cheer as I see the arrows go by. Get him! And then I'm gonna do my fat dwarf walk. I'm gonna like put my goblin clothes like as if I have a belly, and I'm just gonna like walk over towards the other dwarf. I just need a second to get close enough to like cut a throat, basically.
So which way are you moving?
I don't know which way the others are going, so I'm just gonna think like a goblin. I'm gonna make the right decision, which is to go right.
So from your position, that's going okay. All right, so you're gonna move toward. Okay, so you're moving. Are you walking, running?
I'm walking like a dwarf.
Okay,
as best I can.
All right. Let's see. That's the. Yeah. So far, nobody seems to be paying you any attention. Rashtuten,
So I saw on the map there was a couple trees there on the farm side of the trench. So I think maybe that's where I was headed, whereas they went to the trench. So he's kind of, he saw that arrow, it landed in front of him. He's kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah, just if I could make it past that big tree. I don't know if I could have made it there on the last turn or not, but I see a little tree in front of the really big tree. Maybe that's not a tree.
Over here?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, for some reason it's not letting me select my camera so I can lock it in. Anyway, yeah, so you're going to try to get right down in here?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, just give me a stealth check as you're moving in there.
Sure thing. Oh, nice. It is a 16 plus 7. So it's 23.
So as you move in, are you going to this side or are you moving into the trees?
Well, I think they're on that side in the trees. So I would try to be on like the far side of that little tree. So
over here.
Can't hit me. Yeah.
All right. So when you get into this position, you have a view down the trench line here. You can see this gun line or this gun, this cannon, and the guns are still firing, even though they seem to be aware of you. And it's basically you hear like this cannon actually fires next. You just hear like, and then down the line, another one fires. Then this one fires. Then the far one. So they're doing kind of a staggered 1, 3, 2, 4 kind of firing pattern at this point. And you, Rasputin, now that you're here, you have a clear line over here. They've got some kind of, over each of the cannons, raised up with logs, they have some kind of mesh of leaves and twigs forming some kind of like camouflage covering over top of these. So it's almost like they've created shrubbery over top of the cannons as a form of cover. And so you can see them, but you're looking kind of through this netting, and you can see the movement of the gun crew.
And where is Gutstabba?
Gutstabba, you know what? You don't know.
Okay.
There's a dwarf.
Still,
you know what? Give me a perception check.
Oh, I knew you were going to do this.
Oh, no.
Let's see what you...
Oh, no. It's really bad. Okay, so it's 3 plus 4, so it's a 7.
Yeah.
You don't see Rasputin, but you see a dwarf walking across the open field.
You missed one.
So,
If he spells your cover, but if he hits you, it might be bad.
so I think Rasputin then would be kind of like petting his musket. He'd be going, "Oh, is this stupid dwarf? I'm going to shoot it with my bang bang."
Oh.
And he kind of brings it up, and I really hope I'm a bad shot. And he's going to, I'm not a bad shot. It's a 23.
Yes, sir.
So he's going to do, well, at least that's good. 6 damage.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
imagine too far back, not being able to be seen or anything. There's Sprunai throwing up some more signs that nobody understands. He's like, and the shot rings out across the battlefield.
Gutstabba gets shot and he like turns and he's going to try and look in the wrong direction because he knows where he's being shot from. He's going to try and look in like the wrong direction, so he's like, goblins, and like pointing that way in a different direction to where he's been shot from to maybe confuse the dwarves.
And Rasputin's just going to be like, "Oh, stupid dwarves." He's going to start, he's comfortable in his spot right now, and he just is going to start reloading again his musket.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to start running.
All right, Sprunai.
Yeah, because I move slower than them. I think I'm going to finally make it to the trench this time.
Okay.
Now that I'm safely in the trench and I feel like my bag won't get left on the field, I'm going to leave it there and go ahead and pull out my thunder cannon.
All right.
From there, I'm going to line up so that I can provide support fire, and I'm just going to basically aim down on our conveniently dwarven disguised friend.
Okay.
And wait for him to spring his move, because there's a couple of them on that other side, and I want to provide cover fire.
All right. Crisp.
Yes. I think I'm gonna move in the direction up the map, like
This way or this way?
the other way. Yeah. Yeah, this one. Sorry. Yeah. For you, I suppose it's down the map. So I would move in that direction in hope of finding one of those cannons and make it burns.
All right, so you are in the trench.
Yep.
You have enough movement to make it to this little zigzag and get down in here. So you can actually get around here, and you have a clear view of the cannon.
Yep.
And 2 of the 3, there's a gunner. Well, you don't know what their positions are, but there's 2 dwarves, and then the one that looks like he's in charge is kind of standing in the back end of it. And they're furiously reloading this cannon.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have a shot at 2 of the 3. The other one's on the other side of this cannon.
Yeah, so I suppose if I shoot a fireball directly at the cannon, does the explosion would be enough to pretty much get the whole circle in the trench with the cannon?
Yeah, this trench is barely more than 10 foot.
Okay.
Diameter. So yeah, a fireball would be a solid area effect.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna like I said earlier, just pull out my red leather hat, reach down, pull out a fireball, and just gonna shoot at it, and I'm gonna laugh maniacally and just tell them, "Burns, you dwarves! Burns!"
What's the save DC?
14.
Let's see. Of the 3, only the crew commander saved.
Okay.
I love that the goblin silhouettes on my overlay are over this map.
So 28.
28 total damage. So
yeah.
And then I'm going to
just hope that there's some gunpowder pouch that are gonna explode or something.
Give me a perception check.
Yeah. 7.
Okay. So the gun commander jumps off to back away and kind of rolls behind the gun. The fire pretty much fills this whole area. And you can hear the screaming of the dwarves. As they are hit with this burst of fire. And one of them, badly burned, is kind of rolling around on the ground. And yeah, you pretty much see, his clothes, his beard is on fire. It doesn't look like he's dead, but he's in pretty bad shape.
Okay.
And it doesn't appear that any gunpowder or anything was set off at this point.
Okay. So guess it's going to be all for my turn.
And that's going to take us to Grumblow.
Okay, Grumblow is going to go to the opposite gun.
Okay.
And considering Grumbow's specific skill set, would I be able to identify what they're using to propel these gigantic pieces of ammunition?
Give me a something check, some kind of intelligence check.
Investigation.
Sure.
Does that work for you? Okay. I got an 18.
Yeah, you can tell just from the nature of the explosions and the fact that there's a gout of flame from these cannons, that they seem to be using some kind of black powder similar to what's in your in your soldiers' firearms.
Okie doke. Do I see barrels anywhere or pre-packed sets of black powder?
So from where you're at, where did you move to? How far up?
I moved to the bottom one and
Down here?
No, no.
Sorry.
The one
I
that's
forget
not
you
bottom.
guys. The top and bottom is reversed. So to here, you can see in there. You cannot see any barrels from that vantage point.
How far did I move? I have 30 feet.
Well, it depends on how far you wanted to move.
I want to move.
There's a crew in here on the gun.
Okay.
You can go all the way to the gun if you want to.
Yeah, I'll go to the lip.
Okay.
And
are you gonna try to do so stealthily, or are you just running?
No, I'm trying to do this quickly.
Okay, go.
Go what?
So if you get right to the lip, in a split second with that investigation roll, you can see at the back of the gun, as far away as they can within the hole is where they have all the powder kegs lined up.
Okay, I immediately shoot my wrist rocket closer to that than it is to anything else. And you said these trenches where these are kept are about 10 feet or so?
Total 10-foot diameter, yes.
Okay, so then I have a 20-foot radius. It should still cover the entirety of the hole.
That is correct.
And let's see. Okay, it's been a while since I played a mage in this system. So I first rolled to see if I hit, right?
Nope.
No.
It's a fireball?
Okay. It is a fireball, yes.
So what's your spell save DC?
14, it says.
Okay, so my gun crew needs to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Fail. 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 Everybody fails.
Yes! You hear Grumblo right before it goes off say, and I'm gonna roll it says 8d6. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. And I have a spell attack bonus of 6. Is that added to my total?
No, not for an area of effect spell.
Okay.
Just roll 8d6.
I rolled 35.
What does it look like when actually hold on. Let's see, that was here. What does it look like as you kill in one blast all 4 gun crew members?
At first the dwarves are obviously startled. Is this goblin with an unknown weapon just points it at them, and it shoots out this little pellet that just lands in the middle of them. And for a second, they're all confused, and they laugh as first their beards catch fire, and the rest of them follows suit. And they turn into brittle stone as their flash burned. Their ammunition's catching fire, adding to the explosion, tearing their body limb from limb. Parts of the gun are just swung in different directions, shrapnel flying everywhere. And in the camera's behind Grumble, and he's like,
That gun has been eliminated. Now everybody has gotten into a position. I'm going to show this briefly because I've got a couple notes on here. So you get about 2 seconds to see this is what the rest of the gun line looks like. Pretty much zigging and zagging. 2 more guns spaced down along the way. And that's going to take us to... All right. So Crisp.
Yep.
From where you are, where you took your shot with your fireball into the cannon 1.
Yep.
As I said, 2 of the dwarves are writhing in pain, trying to put their fire out. The gun commander, though, did not seem to take as much damage. He's singed a bit. His beard is still kind of smoldering. And even though you don't speak Dwarven, you understand the tone that this is Frak. So he called you something. He cursed you as he draws a pistol. And he's going to take a shot at you. And that is going to be a 14.
Sheet where I have 14, so
so that's going to hit you.
Yeah. But maybe just to piss him off, I would use shield.
Okay.
My first level spell. So just to piss him off and
yeah. So he takes a shot.
Make him.
And I imagine. Well, what does it look like when you cast shield and deflect this bullet?
Actually, again, take off my hat and the bullet goes in, and he does not see it come out, and I just put my hat back on my head and grin with my disgusting yellow teeth. And,
that's awesome. I feel like I went. Oh no, that was him. Okay. Let's see. And you were in movement. Okay. So everybody else has cover except for Grumblow, who is standing there laughing maniacally. You have half cover, which is going to give you a +2 to your AC for this attack.
Okay.
The first arrow is a 14.
That does not hit.
The second arrow is a 13.
It also
The
does
third
not
arrow. Good Lord. The third arrow is a 10.
Grumblow's invincible.
And the fourth arrow is a 22.
Never mind.
So arrows are just like sing, sing, thump, and then all of a sudden.
I laugh at all of them until I get hit in the shoulder. Son of a bitch!
That's going to be 9 points of piercing damage.
Owl, rouse, owl.
Okay. And I would like to, because there's a couple points where I wanted to do this. I would like everybody to take 1 point of inspiration for those just leading up to this point, because you guys are this is just freaking awesome. You guys are all doing amazing things, and I'm terrible at remembering to give inspiration. So everybody take a point of inspiration for everything up to this point. We are now back at the top of the order. Recently, friendly fired Gutstabba.
Yeah, so Gutstabba has been shot, and he looks away from where the goblins are. He thinks that they're to his left, and so he looks to the right and he says, "Goblins!" And then he's going to rush towards the cannon he was moving towards. Am I right in thinking that he's going for the one that hasn't been blown up? Is what I said originally, right? He said right? But
from where you were here, this would have been right.
Okay, so that's where I was going.
You were heading here, and as you got shot, all of a sudden the whole gun just exploded.
Everything on fire.
Okay, so I think Gutstabba would see that, and he would turn around and run in the other direction towards the other cannon. I don't know if I can get there. I have 30 feet of movement, but I can use a bonus action to dash because I'm a goblin or because I'm a thief. One of those.
Yeah, because you're a
So,
rogue.
Interesting question. Can I use a point of inspiration to do a little flashback scene?
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna give Gutstabba a what kind of looks like a World War II style can on a stick style grenade, and I'm gonna be like, okay, when things get bad, just take this and smash at your head. Just do it real hard. You got to do it hard, or else it doesn't work. And what it is it casts Expeditious Retreat on him. I'm using my enchant on an object thing.
Sick. Okay, so in that case, then he would like see the cannon explode in front of him. He would look behind him and see that the dwarves are like getting their stuff together, and he would like, when things get bad, and he would like reach and take this cannon and just like smash it onto his head. And you would see like the cartoon sort of like birds going around his head for a moment as he like shakes it away and then
They're
feels
just sturges
quick.
instead of birds.
Yeah. But then he like starts to run and his like feet move at a crazy pace. He just and he's going to leap down into the pit with the rest of the dwarves. He's going to just say, you know, one of the two words he can say in dwarfish, which is goblins, and walk towards the nearest one and cut his throat.
I taught him that.
So you've got on this side here, you've got one that's just kind of putting the flames out on himself. That looks pretty badly burned. And then over here is another one that's in the same shape. And then the gun commander's the one that looks the least hurt. And in fact, he's the one that just took a shot at Crisp.
Okay, so I think it'll be him then. Now, I'm just wondering, I'm going to get mechanical for a second here. Because I'm a dwarf, will I have like sneak attack or surprise on these guys? Because it will inform my decision of if I'm going to kill the big guy or not.
I think I'm going to roll perception at disadvantage.
Yeah, all the smoke and whatnot.
I think if I remember correctly, you got a 15 on your dwarven performance.
Yeah.
He's got a 13 on his perception. So no, he does not notice that you are a goblin. In fact,
just needs to be enough to get close to him. Once I'm close to him, I'll say goblin again, and then
As you're
like,
him.
yeah, look at me funny, and I'll just take the knife and shove it into the side of his neck. Hopefully,
I also held my turn for covering fire, so I'm waiting to see how this turn resolves before I take my shot.
this is the most fun. Okay, so that is going to be a 15 on the die plus 7 is going to be 22.
Yep, that's going to hit him.
Okay, so if he's surprised, then it's another crit.
Yeah, because of the fail at the perception, he's totally surprised that you are not, in fact, a dwarf.
It's going to be 43 damage.
Did you say 43?
Yes, sir.
Jesus.
Because it's a crit and I have sneak attack.
Christ.
It's 8d6 plus 4.
I imagine it's the equivalent of the Caesar scene. Et tu, Brute. Wait a minute.
In Dwarven.
So,
Et tu goblin in your neck.
yeah, just I got to know what this looks like because you just slaughtered him.
So I walk up to him and I've got my like dwarven walk on, you know, and I walk right up to him and I say goblin, and he like looks at me like, yeah, there are goblins. I know, we're like dealing with it. I say to him again, really seriously, and I put my hand on his shoulder and I say goblin, and then I take my knife and I just shove it into the side of his throat, and like pull it out, and this is a spray of blood, covers Gutstabba, and he like opens his mouth and he's like and then the dwarf like falls and he like looks wild-eyed at the rest of them as like the beard begins to like fall off his face, and he like looks wild-eyed at the others.
I imagine in that last moment, as the beard's kind of peeling, this gun crew commander, as you plunge the neck into the side of his face and he drops to his knees, he reaches out to you almost like, why did you do this? Like an Et tu, Brute moment. And then he grabs the failing beard in his hands, and it just this moment of what as he's holding it in his hands, and then he dies.
My God. Then there was that one that was next closest, but still kind of forward where I would be able to see him. I mentioned that guy kind of pulls up either a crossbow or some sort of gun, and that's the one I'm going to take my shot at.
Okay.
That is a critical. It's 34 points of piercing damage and 21 points of thunder damage as a round off of what looks like a shoulder-mounted cannon comes from the trench.
All right, so I want you to roll a second attack at disadvantage just to see something.
From the thunder cannon?
Yeah, same attack. It's part of this attack. So whatever modifiers you used, just roll it again.
That will be a total of 18 then.
All right. So tell me how you obliterate this first wounded guy, and the same shot manages to kill the second guy.
Yeah, the first shot, like it's not even like phased by the first dwarf. It just rips right through him, and then the shot explodes on the second guy. And for a second there, Spruce is like messing with some lenses on his scope, on his like goggles, trying to see if he missed the first one. And then all of a sudden he realizes as he zooms in that there's this like fine hole through the center of this guy's solar plexus. And it just immediately killed the first one. And he hits the ground finally once Spruce confirms the shot. And then he starts laughing to himself, flipping around lenses and looking at different things around the battlefield, kind of reassessing things. And he begins kind of scratching stuff in the dirt in front of him. For anybody who's educated, it's math. It's a very advanced goblin skill.
And I imagine there's this moment where you, Gutstabba, where you were bathing in the blood of this goblin or this dwarf you killed, and seemingly out of nowhere, 2 more sprays of dwarf blood just shower you in more of the hot, sticky ichor. And Cannon 1 is also eliminated. So I believe it's Rasputin's turn. The order got a little screwy with Chris held his turn. I believe you held your turn from the previous round, or your action. Is that what happened?
It would hold until my next turn, essentially.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I understood what happened, because you're up next after Rasputin. So, Rasputin.
So Rasputin had just shot what he thought was a dwarf, and he's reloading, and he's all excited. So he's fidgeting, he's putting the black powder in, and he's watching him go across. And he just hears this maniacal laughter coming from over there, and he kind of blinks, but he sees the silly dwarf running back the other direction now. He's going, "Oh, so I get you," and he just keeps loading and loading. And then he watches this whole scene play out where Gutstabba comes in, and his beard falling off kills him. He realizes that he had shot Gutstabba. He's like, oh. And he starts to bring the musket up to shoot one of the other 2 to back him up. But then they both get killed right in front of him. So all Gutstabba really wants to do is kind of like intersect. I'm sorry, all Rasputin wants to do is kind of intersect with Gutstabba, who should be at that number 1 cannon, but presumably moving down the gun line. So he's going to kind of hop in the trench and be in front of him.
So you're trying to go which way?
I'm just going to come from that tree forward into the trench, which should be in line with where anybody who is over at gun 1 will be headed.
Yep. Okay.
And
so no action, just movement?
Yeah, no, and nobody would have gotten to me yet, right? Because they didn't move.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to kind of jump in there and just be kind of like looking around, because so far as I can tell, just death on the left and the right.
I want Crisp,
Yeah.
Gutstabba, and Spruce to make perception checks. And Gutstabba, you're going to do it at advantage.
It's a fumble.
That doesn't really mean anything on a
Yeah, skill check. Right, but I've still got no wisdom bonus, and I'm trained. Okay, so it's 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't see anything. Gutstabba, now that the blood has kind of settled, and there was a couple little as the blood spray was dousing a little bit of the flames from the Crisp's fireball, you realize you can hear, and at the same time, Spruce, you're flipping through your goggles, and you see you flip one of your lenses, and you see Gutstabba standing there bathed in the blood of his enemies. And immediately behind him, you see the powder kegs for the cannon, and you see a fuse dancing around on the ground that looks like it's a matter of a few seconds before it's going to reach the powder kegs and detonate.
Again,
that's
against
gonna.
Brunei's not going to do much of help. The more hand signals come up, and it looks kind of like a firework hand signal this time.
Yes,
this one
we
should
did
be
explode.
universal, but he's so far away that no one will get it.
And that's and it's your turn, Sprunai.
Yeah, Sprunai is fishing around inside that bag that he found, and he pulls out what looks like kind of a weird, like the best way to describe it would be like sushi almost, but it's got some sort of hairy thing on top of the rice. But the goblins know this to be an extreme delicacy. It's actually gnome flesh that's been scalped and put on a pile of worms, wrapped in seaweed from the swamp that they actually came from. He's going to hold that in his hand, and he's going to start moving across the field to gut Stabba. When I get to him, because I'm a little slow, I'll explain what that thing does. I left the bag behind, so I'm going at 30, but I've got a lot of distance to cover.
You were here. You can actually get to the pit.
Okay. Will that be a double to get to him?
Nope.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm gonna get to him and toss him the gnome sushi thing. It is actually a cure light wounds.
Thank you.
So that will be a total of 8 points.
Yeah, so you like throw it, and he like opens his mouth and catches it like a dog, like.
Awesome.
And that's going to finish out my turn.
All right, that's going to take us to Crisp.
Okay.
Crisp is right here.
So I'm the only one who didn't hear the black powder kegs.
Correct. You have no idea that the keg. And I put a red X here. I should clarify. The cannon is still intact. The crew is dead.
So I guess since everything seems all right, the most logical thing would be to get to the next cannon. So I'm gonna say, quick, Sleazy Company. We have our boom booms to burns and boom.
Chris, give me a wisdom check.
Okay. 15.
You remember Captain Winterwolf in your mission brief said that your mission was destroy all the cannons unless you think you can carry one of them back.
True. Then I guess. Well, is there a? Do I see the black powder kegs then? Because the thing would be for me, if I should destroy them, I would just set fire to the kegs myself, and then we would go. So or is there any way for me to just damage the cannon in a way that would be effective?
So that one, yes, you can clearly see the kegs. You just didn't notice the fuse burning.
Okay.
And you potentially have a stick of dynamite.
Okay. Well, so
otherwise you can get creative with ways, or you can just leave it. You don't have to destroy it. You just remember that was your orders.
The only point I'm confused is if I'm actively trying to set fire to it, should I finally realize that it's actually already catching fire?
If you're looking at the
fuses, yeah.
Well, you're looking at if you walk up to the kegs, you would notice the fuse. Yes.
Yeah. So so I would walk up to the kegs, and I would just be about to use a firebolt spell, on the kegs, but then I see that they are already lit up. So
you also notice that Gut Stab is standing right next to the kegs as well.
Yeah, so it's at this point I'm, you know, Chris.
Not to
I'm now
dissuade
pretty
you from
close,
still
too.
blowing up the kegs.
Yeah. So it's at this point, Crisp is like confused and between his passion for burning things and, you know, the mission and everything. So I guess he's just gonna point at the kegs and say, okay, so I'm gonna, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna, you know, control flames and make sure that the fuse is really, you know, lit up correctly, and then I'm gonna run for it in the other direction.
You're gonna let the fuse burn out, or rather, burn to its end.
Well,
or did you speed it up?
Yeah, well, I would, you know, I don't want to kill my friends, so I could just use the, you know, extinguish the flame option of control flames to extinguish it for a moment and then relight it at a later moment. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna extinguish it as soon as I realize it. I'm just gonna, you know, extinguish it, say to the other, move out. I'm gonna make it explode. Just go away. I'm gonna take charge of it.
All right. That's gonna take us to Grumblow. You are here, where you just got shot by an arrow.
Yeah. Also, do I see the people who shot me with the arrow?
You can look around.
I will do this.
Give me a perception check.
Okie doke. My perception sucks. That's an 11.
You have no idea where they came from.
Well, in that case, I'm going to keep my head down and move along the trench.
You can get right up into this little bend right here.
Okay, doke.
If you move a single move.
I am going to, when I get there, let's see. Do I have anything that can protect me? Probably not. Yeah, no.
But actually, looking at the distance, when you get here, you can see that right at the end of this little section that you just entered, there's a little dugout, and you can see that there's some crates and boxes shoved into this little dugout.
He's gonna run to the dugout and take cover behind the crates. Does it smell like black powder when I get there? This is the smell that I love so.
Yeah, as soon as you get there, you actually see that there are, in this small dugout, there's not really much room for you to get inside there. You can see that there's about maybe 24 of these steel balls that the cannons are shooting. You can see 6 kegs. They're small, you know, like little party keg kind of thing, size of powder kegs. And you see a box with the letters TNT on it.
I ponder over them like, these strange dwarvish ruins. I'm sure I can decipher them. And after a second, I go, oh! And I am gonna. Well, that's the end of my turn. I can't really do anything else because I moved the full amount. But I'm going to be trying to pry open the crate to grab as many of these as I can.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Just got to see where everybody is. Let's see. Does a gut stabba, does a 16 hit you? I believe it does.
It does, yeah.
And crisp, does a 17 hit you? I believe that does as well. Ooh.
17, yeah.
Lloyd, gut stabba takes, what is that, plus 14 points of piercing damage as you get hit by one of these arrows.
Ooh.
I rolled a 10 on the D10. And Crisp,
Yes.
you are going to take 9 points of piercing damage as an arrow coming from the direction of the hedgerow hits you. And then you guys have Sprunai and Rasputin. Arrows just sail past your positions. And we're back to Gut Stabba.
Okay, so I still have bashed myself over the head with that that special tool that was given to me for dire situations, and so I'm going to begin zipping my way through the trench towards the next gun, so I can dash as a bonus action, which would be 60, and then I'll use my action to dash as well to get really far.
So you're going to try to move. All right, so your first dash will get you to this gun that Grumblow took out.
Well, then I won't dash again if I get that far. Then when I get there, I'll stop, and you'll actually see him like skid to a halt and probably like put like some track marks in the dirt as he like skids to a halt. And then he knows that there's actually enemies up ahead, and so he's going to like take off all the dwarfish rubbish he has on him, and he's going to like quietly take out his knife, and he's going to climb up out of the trench. And like through the trees and try and sneak around to the next gun.
All right. So you're going to move. You can probably make it up into this area here.
Perfect.
With the rest of your movement. Yeah.
I got a 17 on myself.
Okay. So that's where you are, safely hidden away in the trees.
Can I see anything from there? Because I might try and shoot something if I can.
Your line of sight. You can see down the trench. You can see down this trench here, and you can see that it takes a jog towards this gun. But from your vantage point, there's just a couple little bushes that are kind of blocking your way, and what looks like a bunker right up in here.
Okay. No worries. So then I'll just stay where I am, hidden.
Can Rasputin see where those arrows came from?
So you're still back over here.
He should be in the trench now. Okay,
yeah, you moved into the trench. That's right. Give me a perception or investigation.
Okay, perception is going to be 14.
You're pretty sure that they came from this this hedgerow right here where it says archers in the hedgerow.
Mm-hmm. But looking up that way, I can't see anything to actually aim at.
No, actually, all you see is just a hedgerow.
Okay, so then I think he would kind of like scan the area, but not seeing everything, and seeing Gutstabba kind of go like a blur past him. He's kind of going to like do a double take and head off into that direction. I imagine one move probably puts him right around gun 2.
Yep, one move will take you to gun 2.
Okay, and I imagine like him, I still can't see anything from there as well.
Now, once you're here, in the blown up remnants of this gun still smoldering, you can basically see down this little piece of trench, and then it jogs off this way.
Yeah. So he's. I think I'll take my dash movement, but I'll move slowly. I'd like to kind of move down the trench using the cover, kind of keeping my head down, and my gun kind of like Elmer Fudd. Just kind of walking crouched through the trench.
So you would be able to doing that. Wait, so you moved to here. Did you say you were using your second?
Yeah, I'll use my dash movement.
Yeah, so that's going to take you to this little ammo storage bunker where you can. I imagine you see Grumblo fidgeting with a box.
And I think he would look at him and be like, "Oh, you better be careful with that one. I don't want to get blown to hell."
That's the whole point! Ah, let me open the box!
Oh, I better get out of here.
All right, Sprunai.
So, just for clarification, is the gun that I'm closest to the one that's going to blow up next?
I believe that's the plan. As it stands right now, the fuse has been put out by Crisp. But that's the plan, that he was going to blow that one up.
Yeah, I'm going to light it again just as soon as everyone has cleared the area.
So, what's the possibility of me maneuvering this gun? I assume it would take me forever to line it up, but I want to start aiming it down towards like turret number 3 there down the row.
It's a pretty good sized cannon. And it's on, it's got the back end of it kind of sticking or resting on the ground. And it's got 2 banded wooden wheels that are supporting the main structure. It looks big enough that it's going to take more than one of you.
Yeah, Sprunai is going to try and mess with it at first and then realize that it's too much. It's going to eat his whole turn just sitting there trying to turn this thing around because he's pretty determined to give this thing a shot, but it's just not working. He's only got an 8 strength anyway, so I imagine it's pretty comical. He's just like digging furrows in the ground where his shoes are scraping holes.
Yeah. So that's what you're gonna do. Is just
that's my whole turn.
Okay, awesome. Crisp.
Okay, so Sprunai is actually trying to turn around the cannon, if I understood correctly. What was he trying to do?
Basically,
trying to turn it.
Yeah. Okay,
basically, what you see is he's putting all his weight into it, and his feet are just shifting in the.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I say to him, you better run in the other directions. I'm gonna light this this black powder keg right up. So you obey my orders. I'm going the other way, and I just snap my fingers and produce a flame on the fuses, and I start running.
All right, and Crisp, that the fuse has almost exactly 6 seconds left on it.
Yeah, I know. But I'm the boss. I did tell them to, get to the other cannons. So I did what I could. So I light the fuse, and I'm just running as quick as I can.
Okay. Grumblo.
Yeah, so Grumblo's messing with this box. Is it coming apart at all?
What are you using to open it? To try to open it?
Well, first he's gonna fidget around a bit, but he knows he's weak, so he thinks for a second, and he's going to cycle his wrist rocket to his acid burbler. And he's gonna burn down the side of a box very, very delicately with acid so that he can open the box.
I just wanted you to see my face as you're contemplating this. Okay. So I'm going to have you make a... Man. So your spell casting modifier is
6.
intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a roll. You're not really doing an attack roll, but give me an intelligence roll.
Okie doke. I got a total. Wait, am I just adding my intelligence modifier?
Yep, roll the dice and add your intelligence modifier.
Okay, I got a total of 20.
Okay. So you know how to do this in a way that you're only getting the wood. It's basically a controlled acid drip.
Yeah.
Like on the hinges or something. You know exactly how to control this.
I've been working with this gauntlet for many years in Sleazy Company.
I'm going to say that even so, there is, in fact, I'm going to make this a little interesting. I'm going to grab my percentile dice here. And I'm going to say that there is a 5% chance that you light the fuse on one of these sticks of dynamite. So that means let's go low. So a 1 to 5.
Hallelujah.
That's a 16.
Oh, that's too close for comfort.
Yeah, you can see where you kind of started to burn. You actually burned a couple of the fuses, but the acid didn't ignite it.
Thank God it's a wet burn.
Yeah, not quite the right kind of burn. Everybody's under cover of the various things. So at this point, we're going to take a quick break for bio break or whatever you got to do. We'll come back in about 5 minutes or so and finish this thing up. You guys are about halfway through the trench, and you don't know quite what else awaits you down at the other end.
Gently open it with acid.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All right, we'll take a quick break and be back shortly.
Hey.
What's going on?
So, I hope Chris won't mind me lighting up the the fuse again.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out how much he minds.
Yeah.
I think it's like how many D10 do you think that is?
Yeah, I guess it was a little shy at the beginning. Didn't know exactly if it was okay to just succumb to my pyromaniac.
No, I kind of like it. You're like you got put in the leader position, and you're dealing with it as best you know how.
Yeah, but it kind of helped though, because you all seem to have been playing together at least once, or a few of you. So I guess it forces me to take a little initiative and speak up. So it's nice.
Yeah, I always do it. I like to play leaders. It's like my thing that I do, but I didn't want to this time. I was like, I'm going to do it. So I just like push somebody else to do it. And I also think it's very goblin-y to like have someone else do it, and then they can be in trouble if it fucks up, you know?
Yeah, because the boss did say, I'm going to be the first killed if, we come back and the mission failed. So I guess you kind of put me on the spot there. You threw me under a bus.
Which is exactly what a goblin would do.
Yeah.
I love the way you guys are playing this. I love this, just everything about this.
That's hilarious.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because when you disguised yourself as the dwarf and was walking across the field, and Rasputin specifically said, "Do I see any dwarves?" And I was like, "Oh, crap! Yeah, you do. You do see a dwarf right out in the open." I hadn't thought of it until that moment.
Yeah, I knew as soon as I said that, I was like, wait a minute. Too late.
It's nice, though. It makes for funny moments.
And I don't know how many of you are students of history or fans of Band of Brothers, the actual show, but I imagine if you are, you probably recognize this battle by now if you didn't figure it out already at the beginning.
I'm not that much of a buff. I found it familiar. I definitely watched that show like 2 or 3 times, but I can't remember the name.
I do recall the episode, but I do not recall the name of the actual battle, though.
I'll give a little more into it at the end once it's all over. Just waiting on Grumblow to get back.
That voice is killing me.
It's kind of Goblin, kind of similar.
And there was a moment there at Canon 1 a turn ago where Crisp was wavering on what to do, and I really thought he was just gonna look at Gutstabba, shrug, and walk away.
And I'm really sorry for that, because I really hesitated, but I didn't quite know if it was the okay thing to do for now. But that's why I lit it up again. Just so I gave an occasion for everyone to just split, and now I'm just gonna burn everything. But I should be more spontaneous about this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tip my hand, but you guys haven't seen what the damage output of a single powder keg is, let alone 3 or 4.
Yeah.
In fact, at this point, only one of you, Grumblow, is the only one who's actually seen the full effect of the explodey.
Yeah, I think Rasputin was like 30 feet away, but like leaned against a tree, so it would have just been, he wouldn't have gotten the full effect.
It's hot as balls in here. Do you guys hear that? That buzzing?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
Really? I've had my fan off for 2 hours because I thought you could hear it.
Once you started talking, it vanished.
All right. I'm going to leave it on then. All right. So Grumblo used his acid to open a box of dynamite.
Yes. Precious, precious splodies. Mine.
And so if I'm trying to get a sense of where everybody's at. So to recap, Sprunai, where did you go?
I'm near Cannon 1 about to blow up.
Okay, so you're down here by Cannon 1. Gut Stabba, you took off.
I'm in the trees.
Yeah, you took off like a blur. Crisp went ahead and set fire and walked away, or set fire to the fuse and walked away. And then Rasputin and Grumblo are here at the ammo storage. And let's see. So you don't even need to make a check because you're already looking. I do want a perception from Rasputin. And I'm going to say at disadvantage because Grumblo is distracting you with his acid and dynamite.
And cackling.
And cackling. So at this point, Gut Stabba, you're the only one that notices the tall plate armor wearing human that climbs up out of a bunker right here in this trench, about 20 feet away from Rasputin and Grumblo. And he comes up out of this bunker and he looks both ways, looking down at, I guess you guys can't see the map. I'm pointing at it. Forgot to move the camera. Yeah, so you see it down here. This bunker just before gun 3 is where this very official looking commander emerges from the bunker, and he shouts something at the crew here that is scrambling to reload, and they're basically moving faster now with 2 guns down. They're trying to make up for it. And then he turns and he looks over here, and he very clearly sees 2 goblin asses sticking out from this from this ammo bunker. And Gut Stabba, you watch as he walks out towards them, drawing. Let me see, what does he have? Drawing from his back a massive, thick-bladed greatsword. And he holds it in a way, that way where he kind of draws the hilt back because he's in a trench, and holds one hand in front of him, and he's holding it back so that I'm making the motions like you guys can see me, but you know what I'm talking about. He's drawn it back along his side where he can just thrust forward with it as he closes in on you guys. And because you failed your perception, Rasputin, you don't see him coming up on you. To attack you with advantage.
Oh boy.
And that is going to be a 20. Nope. Oh, good Lord. A 26 to hit. As he makes a quick motion with his sword, and you take 9 points of slashing damage. Oh, good Lord. And it actually, as he thrusts it across you, just the action of him drawing it back deals an additional 2d6 of slashing damage. So you take 4 more slashing damage as he draws it back and strikes again. Whoops. This time is not with advantage because I think at this point you're aware of him.
I would say so.
I might be.
And that is going to be a modified 20 to hit. Oh, 19 points of slashing damage. Plus another 8. So that's a total 27 slashing damage. And Gut Stabba, this commander lives up to your name as you just see 2 quick flashes and you actually see 2 quick flashes and 4 sprays of Rasputin's blood as he's just been assaulted by this battlefield commander. And that's going to take us to you, Gut Stabba.
Okay. So Gut Stabba's like standing in the shadow of a tree, and he sees this like guy come out of the trench, and he's like watching him very carefully. And so he like ruffles in the bag behind him. He pulls out this like long barreled rifle. He like reaches in to his pocket and he pulls out like a couple of different bullets. They all have like markings on them. They're all like coated in goo, and he like picks up one. It's coated in this black goo, and he like puts it in, loads it. He's gonna like draw a bead. He's gonna try and fire it at the man in the plate mail. I assume I'm hidden from him. Excellent. Okay, so it's going to be a 19 to hit. Ew.
That is going to penetrate his armor.
Thank God. Okay, so he has to make a Constitution saving throw of DC 13, which he probably won't.
Con save. He has a +2. It's got an 11 total. So he fails.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I was not expecting that.
There was I.
So in that case, it's the oil of Taggart. He succeeds in the saving throw or becomes poisoned for 24 hours. The poisoned creature is unconscious. It wakes up if it takes damage. So I have to do my damage as well.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you just knocked him out?
Yeah, this oil of Taggart, contact poison. Unless he takes damage. So if he takes damage, he wakes back up again.
Oh, hold on.
Yep.
Hold on. He has a feature called Indomitable that lets him re-roll a failed saving throw.
Okay. Yep. I would definitely do that if I were you.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, natural.
That critical 1
God,
on that saving throw on the re-roll. So without a doubt, you've just knocked out the battlefield commander with 1 shot.
The Stabba for MVP.
Plus whatever damage you did to him.
Yes, I'm gonna do that now. So, is he surprised by me? Because then it would be a critical hit. But I'm not gonna push for anything else. Actually, I'm just gonna roll the damage.
I'm gonna say because his attention was 100% on Rasputin and Grumblow, he had no idea you were there.
Oh boy. Then I apologize in advance for this damage. Okay, let's see. So it's going to be... And... it's going to be 35 and 4, 39 damage. And he falls unconscious. Now he wakes up if he takes damage from any other source after this.
Okay.
But for now, this bullet just like whizzes, obviously like grazes or like maybe goes deep into his gut or something, like or under the armpit maybe where there's no armor, and it looks fatal. He just like falls to his knees.
Yeah, there's actually a loud clatter and I imagine with the plate on, just because of this and how badly he failed, this when it goes through this weak spot or chink in his armor and gets into his bloodstream, he immediately just clatters to his knees. In a spasm, his grip tightens on his sword, but the blade falls to the ground, dripping with Rasputin's blood. And just the nature of his plate, he's unconscious on his knees. His arms sag to his side, and his head lolled forward on his chest. Now, if no damage befalls him to wake him up, he's unconscious for 24 hours.
Yep.
Okay. And you did 39 damage. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. Rasputin.
On the bright side, if he lasts the 24 hours, he gets a long rest.
So Rasputin gets stabbed and he crumbles to the ground, and he's kind of like this. It's coming. And then ping, this guy just goes down like a sack of potatoes. And he's what just and he's just holding himself. And eventually he just kind of spits in his hands and rubs his hands together in a Bush Hills, Bramble Hill style healing, and just kind of hold it against his gut. And he's just casting Cure Wounds on himself. And he's just basically in shock and actually doesn't know exactly what happened.
All right. Sprunai. Panning back over to Cannon 1, where the fuse is rapidly burning down to nothing.
Yep. Can I snatch that fuse out? Am I close enough to do so?
Yeah.
Yep, I'm going to snatch the fuse out.
All right, yeah, you're able to grab a hold of it and just snag it right out of there, so you're now holding a burning fuse in your hand.
Yeah, and like Sprunai will snatch it out so quick that it actually burns his hand. He drops it to the ground and stamps it out, pushes the crates a little bit further away from where he stamped it out from. And he'll fish out this other hermit crab shell, and he holds it really close to his mouth. And he hasn't quite mastered the idea of these sending stones yet. So he just screams at the top of the lungs, "We've got a cannon! Come to this one!" And he expects them to know what he means when he says this one. So we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, and you don't get any response. So yeah. All right. Let's see. So I'm gonna. Okay. Crisp.
Yes.
I believe you headed back down. You were kind of walked away, so you're probably right in about here.
Yep. I'm gonna head down the trench.
You're expecting a boom any moment now.
Yeah. So I'll still run down the trench, but you know, when I fail to hear the explosion, a little something dies inside of me, like a, you know, my one of my biggest expectations of the day just, you know, went out. But I will rekindle the flames of my hope by hopefully destroying another cannon. So it's just direct dash for me down the trench and as far as I can go.
You can catch up with the bleeding sprue now, and the fidgeting Grumblow, and a hulking human in plate armor that is blocking your path as he appears to be unconscious on his knees. And that's going to take us to Grumblow.
First, I look to Tootin, and I go,
Toots, are you okay? That was pretty bad. You're bleeding there. All over the floor.
No, I'm not really okay. I am bleeding all over the floor.
You want I should fix that?
Do what you can do, but don't use the acid.
He goes, no, I'm going to use gunpowder.
wait, hold on, what? I didn't hear what you said, dude.
I don't think anybody said anything.
So I'm going to make a medicine check, if that's all right with you. Basically cauterizing his wounds so that he doesn't bleed out any further. Excuse me. Let's see. Okay, I got a 19. I doctor real good.
All right. What does it look like as you cauterize? How do you go about using gunpowder and cauterizing his wounds?
So I pull him into the hut. I break a stick of TNT and I go, "Don't worry about it. This is a controlled blast. Everything's gonna be fine." I just shove gunpowder into his wound. I assume he's freaking out.
Yeah, he's squirming around all over the place, just trying to get away from his
As he's moving around, I go, "You need to stop. You're gonna make it worse." I slap him. And it's a weak slap though. He's only got 8 strength. And then I put my hand over his mouth as he's screaming, and he sees a small like flame pop out of my gauntlet. Okay, here it comes. And I assume he's just going.
Yeah, I imagine he's screaming at the absolute top of his lungs, which I cannot do without waking up my gobos. So just imagine it.
And after that though, you definitely don't feel like you're leaking anymore. And your body feels solid. Not great, but solid.
He just keeps screaming, obviously, afterwards, but then eventually he's just like feeling with his hands, and then he gets really happy and he goes to like almost hug you, but then he stops and says,
"No homo, bro. Come on."
And
says, you blew up my belt.
You caused some damage, but you also kind of healed them, and the net effect was you gained 4 hit points. I rolled a couple dice and did some math. Looks like you got more healing than damage, so you get an extra 4 hit points.
After that, I'm going to basically grab as much TNT and shove it into my belt as possible. And I'm going to give him a few sticks, and I go, "Here, for the booms."
In that box, there were a total of 8 sticks of dynamite.
So I'm going to give myself 4, and I'm going to shove 4 into his pants.
Okay.
And Rasputin might actually like somebody in a squad for the first time ever.
Aw, thank you.
I lost the sheet. Here we go. Gut stabber.
Yes, sir.
You notice from your vantage point as this is going down, and you can kind of see it happening. Movement catches your eye as you see from the hedgerow 2 elven archers move out of the hedgerow and start moving towards guns 3 and 4 across the open expanse. And you see just a flurry of movement, and then it kind of vanishes as 2 more cut out of the hedgerow and then disappear back into the hedges, moving this way.
Okay.
And you also hear simultaneously from guns 3 and 4 explosions as they fire again. And it is back to the top of the order.
Okay. Elven archers, huh? Okay, so Gustava is going to like run to the side of the trench where they're all kind of standing, and he's going to like look at them, and he's going to go, which is, and he just points in the direction, in a sign language that only he really understands. But he thinks that's helpful, and he says, "No touch, ma'am, no touch." And then he is going to drop his gun, draw his knife again. He's going to move quietly through the trenches and try to approach the next gun.
Yeah, you can make it to this area right here. You're actually you come probably, let's say, about 10 feet short of the actual trench, or excuse me, the actual gun position, but you're standing right outside of the bunker from which the commander emerged.
Okay, can I hear anything in there?
Give me a perception.
Badly. 13.
You don't hear anything from inside.
Okay, so that means it's safe, and so I'm going to climb in through one of the windows.
Yeah, as small as you are, there's these narrow, like, trench level, top of the trench level, little like window slits.
Okay,
You know, that are only like 1 or 2 sandbags high that nobody else would be able to fit through. But in fact, the other goblins themselves probably wouldn't fit through, but you do. And you kind of slither in and just merge with the shadows in this bunker. And you're in a 10-foot by 5-foot bunker that it's actually a step down into this thing from the door, so that the human would have been able to stand upright. And inside here, you see that there are a couple of makeshift, almost like benches, like tables kind of thing, a couple of stumps that were being used as chairs. And you see a couple of crates, and across one of these benches, makeshift benches, is several rolled up pieces of paper, scrolls, maps. And you actually see a map that the topmost map you actually recognize is a complete map of hand-drawn map of this area here. And with marks, that's just one small section of it. You actually, looking at this map, realize that the same symbols that are marking these guns and the number of personnel here for the entire region, for probably 20 square kilometers, you can see all of the enemy positions that are marked on this map. You have basically just found enemy intel.
excellent. Goodstaba is smart enough to know what that is. He can read amazingly. He's kind of crafty, and so he looks at this and he's like, "Yes, give to boss, boss promote." And so he like grabs all the scrolls and like rolls them up and puts them into his various pockets. Whatever he can grab, particularly this big map, he's going to try and roll that up and keep it. And yeah, so he's going to steal that stuff. And from in here, then I guess he can't hurt anyone, which would be his main objective. Do I get the impression that someone's going to come back in here? No, it was just the commander in here. Okay, so I'll grab that stuff and then I'll head back outside in the direction of the next gun.
All right, so the end of your turn pretty much ends ready to leave the bunker.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Rashtutin.
Rashtutin's gonna get up, kind of feel himself again, make sure he really is pretty whole, and I think he's gonna have to find his musket that he probably dropped when he was stabbed, and he grabs that and kind of heads in the same direction as Gutstabba. He won't go in such a sneaky way, so he'll just continue down the trench. But as he kind of goes past the human, he's just going to kind of like skirt it to the side, and he's going to kind of realize that Gutstabba also saved his life, and he's just kind of shaking his head like, sleazy, not so sleazy, and just kind of shuffle down the trail and see if he sees anything.
Yeah, you're able to get right up to here. You said you're not trying to stealth?
Well, I mean, he's just like kind of as he was before with his head down, Elmer Fudd style, kind of looking ahead. I wouldn't say stealthy, but ready to attack the next gun.
So as you come around here, yeah, as you come around, because you can make it, you actually have enough movement to make it to the gun. But as you come around this corner of the trench, you find that there is a dwarf lying in the gun pit. He is pointing a weapon at you. And he has been waiting for you. So he is going to use his ready to action. And he has a musket. Is a, let's see, it's a +3. So that's a 15.
That hits. Just hits.
And let's see, a musket is 1d12. +1. Oh, lucky you. You take 2 points of piercing damage. Yeah, you take 2 points of piercing damage from the musket.
Yes, I think it just kind of like whips past my shoulder, kind of like skims me, draws blood.
And you still have an action.
Yeah, so I still have my musket loaded, so I'm just going to bring my musket up. And is there anything I can kind of like... No, I don't think he would be thinking that far ahead. He would just raise the musket and fire away. Return fire. Is it at disadvantage because he's prone?
It's at, yes, it's at disadvantage because he's prone.
Okay, so that's going to be 13.
That's going to hit.
Oh, wow. Okay. For 15 damage. And,
yeah, and you can see it kind of just goes, you basically just hit him right in his, the same shoulder that he was bracing his musket against. And there's, I imagine you kind of kick up dirt and rocks into his face at the same time. He's able to kind of shield his face at the same time, so he's not blinded by it. But yeah, you just kick up a hail of dirt, and there's a little bit of spray of blood as you hit him in the shoulder.
And then Rasputin would just kind of holster his musket and just look to see if there was anywhere easily accessible for him to kind of like take half cover behind a corner or something.
You used all of your movement to get, let's say, actually you came here, sorry.
Oh, so I'm like right there. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, because there's just a little bit of a cut here, so you can actually duck back into this whole edge that takes you out of this line of fire.
Perfect. That's where I end my turn.
Okay. Spoon Eye.
Since I'm not able to move the cannon, Spoon Eye will just start loading it up, expecting that reinforcements will be here at any moment to help him aim this thing so that it can be useful.
So you're just, what are you doing? You're holding?
I'm loading the gun, or the cannon.
Oh, okay. You're going to load the cannon.
Yeah. And I imagine since I'm doing it by myself, it's going to take quite a while.
Loading the cannon will take you rounds because you're doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know how to load the cannon?
I imagine it's like a big gun. I'm an artificer, if that helps.
Oh, that's right. You're an artificer, so it wouldn't even be a question. Yeah, that's exactly your logic. You kind of, there's this moment where you look at all the tools lying around, and you basically just see giant gun. You know, put powder in, pack it down, put ball in, fire it. So loading the gun will take 3 rounds total.
Okay. That's what I'm going to do. And hope for reinforcements to realize what cannon I meant when I said this cannon.
All right. Crisp.
Yeah. I'm gonna move until I see the next cannon.
I don't remember exactly where you were.
I was near bunker. I had just regrouped with.
Oh, that's right. You had regrouped here
with the others.
So same thing. You'd be able to kind of come around here. You would have actually seen Rasputin shooting.
Yeah. So I see the dwarf on the floor on the ground?
Yeah, if you come around, you would see the dwarf on the ground, and there's on the other side of the gun. You can see that there's at least a couple others.
Okay. I would like to use Scorching Ray.
Okay.
Using sorry, I'll just take a quick look.
Yep, just make a ranged spell attack.
Yeah. So I will hang. Can I hang the two of them at the same door? I think yes. I just do not remember. Scorching Ray. Yeah, okay. So 3 rays. So the first one is 17.
That's going to hit.
Second one is 7, which was critical fail. And the last one is 13.
Okay, you're going to hit the first guy.
Okay.
And you're going to miss the other 2 because they had half cover from the cannon.
Okay.
But you said one of those was a critical fail?
Yep.
Where's my percentile? I'm going to say there's a 25% chance of this happening. And I rolled a 100. So you absolutely, I don't think I've ever rolled 100 on a percentile.
Only a 1% chance that you will.
Yeah, it's a 100. So you absolutely were in no danger whatsoever of igniting the powder kegs with that critical fail.
Can I use my Fury of the Small Goblin ability to do 5 damage to the dwarf I've just hit?
Yeah, remind me how that works.
It's once per short or long rest. It allows me to do plus 5 damage to a larger creature.
Yep.
Okay, so 13 damage total.
Yeah. What's it look like as you kill this dwarf with your Scorching Ray?
It's actually pretty painful for him because I'll just maintain this Scorch Ray, which is why the other 2 just went way off target. I'm just gonna point the dwarf and maintain focus on his armor, and he's just gonna burn and cook inside his armor, and I suppose he's going to yell in agony, writhing on the ground.
Absolutely. And if any of you like the smell of burned flesh, it smells like a dwarven barbecue right now.
I'm pretty sure that's all of us.
So that is going to take us to Grumblow.
All right, so the closest cannon is not taken out yet.
Correct.
But are all the not all of them, but most of the dwarves are dead?
On this gun, only one is dead. In fact, only one has been wounded.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. In that case, I'm gonna run up to it as I'm yelling at Rasputin. I just fixed you. And then I'm gonna take out my wrist rocket. And I'm going to load in another big boom. And I'm going to go, suck it, dwarves! And that's going to be another fireball.
All right. So that's going to be dexterity saves. What is your save DC? 14?
14.
Okay, so the commander makes his save. Fail. Another 8. Fail. Oh wait, that guy's dead. So the 2 remaining dwarves on the crew fail, and the dwarven commander of the crew passes.
Okie doke. I do 28 damage for that.
This is almost exactly playing out like the first gun did. You weren't there to see it, but for Crisp, it looks just like when he blew up the first gun. 2 dwarves are now writhing in pain. One of them has taken some burns and singed his beard. It's glowing, but he's still up for the fight.
All the dwarves can hear is along with the cackling of flames. Crackling. Sorry. I get that mixed up sometimes.
So now we've got Rasputin, Crisp, and Grumblow are all right in here. And Gutstabba is in the bunker. So Gutstabba, you are safe. And Rasputin, you're tucked into this little corner. You're safe. As Crisp and Grumblow, you see over the edge of the bunker, coming around here where this camouflage is over the top, 2 tall humanoid figures with pointy ears come running up, and they actually leap into the air, and each one of them shoots a longbow down at you.
Grumbling goes, take cover, it's the alphos!
So Grumblow, does a 13 hit you? I don't believe it does.
Yes, it does. I don't have any.
Oh no, yes, that does hit you. And then Crisp.
Yeah.
Does a 12 hit you?
No.
So that arrow misses, but Grumblow, you take 8 points of piercing damage as an arrow lances down into you.
Ah! This is it. This is the end of me.
Not really.
Gutstabba, from inside the bunker, you've been hearing blasts of flame and cackling Grumblow laughter.
Gutstabba rolls his eyes.
You're up.
And he thinks, just, I did not hit the man. I did not hit the man. And he's wondering what hell is going to befall them. He's going to stick his head out of the bunker and move and see the ruin of the cannon. The dwarves here are dead, right?
No, two of them are writhing in pain, and there's a singed gun commander.
Okay.
One of them is dead, and as you stick your head out, you would immediately notice the 2 elves that have just landed up above the edge of the bunker, or the trench. So you're here. They're barely, we'll say 6 or 7 feet away. They've literally just landed in a crouch, having fired their arrows and shot Grumblow.
Okay, so then Gutstabba's approach is obvious to him. He's going to begin like moving quickly, and he's going to try and like leap across the trench and land on top of an elf, hopefully murdering him. Is the plan?
All right. That's a bit of a leap, so give me an athletics or acrobatics, because you're a bit of a parkour dude.
He certainly is, yeah. I took expertise in it. So that's a 25 for acrobatics.
So how awesome is it as you parkour up onto one of the elves?
Yeah, so he like begins running, and he like runs alongside the bunker, and he like leaps up on some fallen brickwork, boom, boom, and then he like kicks off the top of the bunker, does a front flip, in the air, and silently sort of like pulls the knife from between his teeth, inverts it, and hopefully brings it down to this elf.
All right, yeah, roll the attack. The execution of the move is friggin' badass. I love everything about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see how it ends.
So I don't think this is a sneak attack for once. So it'll be a 15 on the die plus 7, so a 22 to hit.
Yeah.
For 12 damage. And I'm going to use my Fury of the Small Goblin ability to do an extra 5 damage, bring it to 17.
Yeah, so as you land on him and drive your blade in, I imagine you just give it a twist.
Yep, he hates elves most of all.
In fact, well, you know what? Never mind. I was going to say give me a strength check, but he rolled a 3, so you knock him prone as well.
Perfect. So just like out of the smoke and the craziness, they just suddenly see this like goblin form out of the sky falling towards them.
Yeah, I imagine with the smoke from these fire attacks, as you parkoured up, the breeze just happened to bring a waft of smoke across where you were. So to this elf, you literally emerged from smoke as if you came out of nowhere. You just poofed into existence. And his shock is what allowed you to drive him to the ground.
Yeah, so I shank him with the knife, and as I like knock him to the ground, I like lift it up over him, and then the camera cuts away.
And crash cuts to Rasputin.
So that's all pretty close to me, right? Because I'm in that little.
Yeah, I imagine Gutstab parkoured up over top of you and has just landed above the bunker or the trench where you are.
Yeah, I think Rasputin would kind of see that, and he'd be like, "Good idea," and just kind of reach into his leather jacket, armor sort of shawl here, and pull out a grasshopper and kind of bite off its wings, one of its legs, sorry, and he's gonna gain the ability to jump 3 times, triple the distance until the spell ends in 1 minute. So that's going to be his one action, and he's going to pull his short swords and try to jump basically straight up and see if he can. I believe there were 2 elves.
Yeah.
So he'll try to basically jump straight up and land almost similarly on the other one.
Except there's no parkour for you. You're just jumping straight from a crouch.
Like a grasshopper.
That's awesome. So, I want to have you make a... I'm just going to have you make a dexterity. If you have acrobatics or athletics, you can add to it just to control this jump.
Okay.
To see if you can actually land on the elf.
Okay. I have acrobatics, but not a lot of modifiers. So I have +4 plus a 16. So that's a modified 20.
Yeah. So you're able to just all of a sudden leap up from this crouch position, flying into the air and dropping down on this this elf.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to also use my what's it called? The racial ability Fury of the Small to add an extra 5 to 12 plus 5, so 17 total damage.
How much?
17.
Oh, you'd succeed in all of this. But as you cut into him, you have a choice to make. Are you going to hold on, or are you going to continue on to the ground? Because he is completely solid. He had a nat 20 there, or rather an at 20 on his strength check to stay standing.
Okay. Well, if I could fall to the ground while using my bonus action for my dual wield, kind of trying to slash as I fall down.
Excellent.
18.
That is a hit.
For 11 damage.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so when you land and you slash at him, how do you kill him?
I think basically like the first one, I kind of like come high and like get, and he kind of puts his hands up, and then as I'm falling, I just kind of gut him with my other short sword, just kind of bring it across his midsection as I land on the ground.
Gut Stabba, how do you react to this with your expertise in all of this stuff? And Rasputin seemed to have just leapt out of nowhere and in one smooth action just killed you, only knocked yours down and injured him.
I think he would be so surprised. He wouldn't expect it from Rasputin, who has so far today proved himself to be ineffective in everything he's tried. And so he would like look and be like, oh, that must be one of the other goblins. And he would see it's Rasputin and just go, learning.
Sprunai, continuing to load the cannon.
That is correct.
All right, so
Taking my timer down.
You've gotten the powder tamped down, or rather, you've gotten the powder loaded, which was your last action, so this round you're tamping the powder.
Yep.
All right, Crisp.
Yes. So, one elf remaining. One dwarf also, I think.
3 dwarves are still alive in the gun pit.
Oh, okay.
2 of them are barely alive, burning.
Okay, I'm gonna aim. I'm gonna do another scorching ray. 1 to each of them. And
wait, I suggest taking the elf. I have a thing for the dwarves.
Oh,
I got it.
In this case, for the elf, I'll just do a simple firebolt.
Just to be clear,
yeah,
Gut Stabba is standing on the elf.
Oh, so there's no way for me to hit the guy safely without risking.
And he's not prone.
In this case, I think I'm gonna risk going alone to the next cannon.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take a run for it and try to.
What's your route?
So, is there one of the two sides of the cannon that I could go around? Is there one which is, let's say, less occupied by the enemy? One
if you enter the pit,
which would be easier.
If you enter the pit, you will get 1 opportunity attack against you.
Okay. I'll take this opportunity attack and I'll continue to run down the trench.
Okay, so assuming you survive this opportunity attack, you'll be able to make it to this juncture of the thing. Okay, so the gun commander, who only took part of the blast previously, as you come in, he scrambles to his side and he raises some kind of a barrel up. And excuse me. There's a blast. Just double checking this real quick. Yeah. There's a blast as he fires this close range, almost like a sawed-off shotgun. There's just what is his attack? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I was getting confused. Oh, that is a critical hit. That is an at 20 with a pepper box. So that's going to be 2d10. What's his plus? Okay, that should be a 2d10. It's 4. And 8 is 12. Where is it? Oh, okay. That's 14 points. Sorry. 14 points of piercing damage as he peppers you as you enter.
Okay. So 17 points left. So yeah, I'll
You're going to continue through the pit?
Yeah, but I'll be in pain, and maybe I'll reconsider to maybe just reconsider the move as a strategic repositioning instead of just running to the other cannon directly. But I'll still continue down the way, and next round I'm gonna try to burn them.
Okay. Grumblo.
All right. So Grumblo follows Crisp all the way up until he's in the thick of the dwarves, and as Crisp keeps going, he looks to the dwarves and he goes,
There's a burning question I have. Was it knife to meet me?
and I'm going to activate my Cloud of Daggers mine, which the only safe spot, and I designed it this way with the intent that I would know so it wouldn't hurt me, is right in the middle where I would be. And that is going to in a cube with 5 feet on each side, meaning it's basically a 10-foot circle around me. In other terms, they will be taking a bunch of slashing damage, and it doesn't look. There's no save for it. I don't see a save for it unless there is. I just roll damage, or
I'm just double checking because I can't remember. Speed dash 5 foot cube, center on the point you choose. Creature takes. Nope, no save. 4d4 slashing damage.
That is a total of, let's see, 12, and that's 6. No, yeah, 12. 12 points of slashing damage.
So, as soon as this thing goes off, you immediately cut the 2 wounded dwarves to ribbons. As you were getting ready to set this off, the gun commander, having just fired his pepper box at Crisp, swings it around to you, and there's this moment where he's starting to raise it up and pull the trigger, and you just see this horrified look on his face as this cloud of daggers just shreds him.
Oh, could Could it be that as he was pulling the gun up on me, his arm just flew off? Or is he not dead? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Dead.
Yeah, his arm just flew off, and he realized that he couldn't fire his gun anymore.
I feel proud of myself.
Yeah, you just took out the entire gun crew of that bunker. So the crew is down, but the gun is not.
Is the powder on fire?
The powder is not on fire.
Okie doke. I am going to finish my movement if I can, because this is a small area, to follow Crisp.
Yep.
On the other side of this.
Yep, absolutely. And I need a strength check from Gut Stabba. You're looking to beat a 10.
I fail.
What?
Yep.
As the elf pushes you off of him, and he's going to quickly draw a dagger. And let's see, that's a disadvantage. That's still going to be a 15.
That will just miss me.
So yeah, he shoves you off of him and kind of rolls over. You hear the metal on leather as he draws his dagger out, and just your momentum of being pushed off, almost in slow motion, you can see a glint of light off of the dagger as it slides through the air where your neck was just a moment before. And let's see. Chris, Sprunai, give me a disadvantaged perception check.
Okay. That is a 11.
Okay. So that is them. And then I'm going to do a... Again. And okay. Crisp and what the hell else is down there? Grumblow. From where you guys are at, down the trench and in the direction of the fourth gun, you realize you haven't heard a gunshot in a little while. And you actually hear, it's hard to tell because of the sounds dwarves make when they're talking. They always sound like they're angry. But you hear what sounds like the gun crew shouting at one another.
Okay.
And that's going to take us to Gut Stabba.
Okay, so this elf beneath me who tried to kill me, I'm going to try and kill him. So I like barely dodge out of the way as the light knife like maybe even cuts a bit of the taut skin on Gut Stabba's face. But he's got the knife upside, like inverted already, and he's just gonna with both hands stab it down into this elf's chest. No, he's prone, so I think. Oh no, I'm prone too, right?
Yeah, you guys are both prone, so I'd say it'd just be a straight attack.
Yep. So it's a 19 on the die for a ridiculous.
All right.
And it's going to be 8 piercing.
So I imagine as you bring this knife down, it's kind of like in Saving Private Ryan when in that last battle when the German comes up the tower, and I forget the guy's name, but he's up there and they're literally wrestling and fighting, and he draws a bayonet and he's kind of holding it there, and you're pushing down, and you can hear the elf going, no, 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 wait, as you start to shove this dagger into him, and he's pushing hard against your arms as this dagger's driving into him, and he's not dead yet, but you can see that this, if you didn't get his heart, you got really close to his heart.
Yeah, I
So
love
yeah,
it.
he's not
looking,
dead yet, but
Gustav is looking like right into his eyes as he's doing that. And he's like pushing with that dagger, and you can see that the elf is like totally focused on that, and so he's gonna take another dagger from his pocket and stab him in the side with it with his offhand.
oh,
A
nice.
bonus action. Which
I
feels
imagine
very
as you're
goblin-y.
staring down at him and doing this, not breaking eye contact, I can just see blood, sweat, and goblin spit just dripping off of your face down onto him.
Yep. And he thinks it's like this really intense one-on-one sort of dagger duel where we're holding the daggers in place, but then Gustav just sneaky stabs him on the side. This dice, 18 on the die. For 7 points of damage.
What does his last moment look like?
It's one of like shock and disappointment, I think. He thought that he was going to go out with at least this sort of like last glorious struggle. But Gustava doesn't let him have it. He like sees the dagger and he sees that fight, and Gustava just like looks right in his eyes, and then there's like a he just like shanks him 10 times in the ribs, and the elf stops moving.
Awesome. Fantastic. So I better mark that technically it's these two, but they're dead here. That crew's all dead. You guys are there. Rasputin, you're just next to where Gutstaba just brutally butchered this other elf, next to where you had murdered your elf.
So I think he had said you're learning. So he's going to kind of just look over and be like, good, you're learning, and kind of repeat back to him what he had said. And then just try to kind of, I guess he's going to be outside the trench now, but he's going to move along to where Crisp and just Crisp, I guess, where Crisp is. And if he can look over the trench, I don't know where he'll get to, but if he gets there, he'll look over and see what he sees.
So you're going to run straight across this way?
More hugging the trench, I would say. Yeah, as tight to the trench as possible.
Yeah, so you can make it over here. In or out of the trench?
Right now, I'm out. I will stay out. I'll just kind of
give me perception.
Away. Sure. 17.
So as you come over here, you see that there's another dwarf commander and a crew of 2 on this flank gun. Oops. And you can clearly see that one of the dwarves is actually trying to crawl out of the pit, and the commander has him by the back of the breeches and is smacking him in the back of the head while looking at the other dwarf, pointing his pistol at him. Or wait, no, that would mean he has 3 hands. So he's not smacking him in the back of the head. He's got him by his breeches as he's trying to get out, and he's pointing his pistol at the other dwarf, and they're all yelling at one another.
Okay, so Rasputin is going to pull his musket back out again, and he's going to take one action to load it because he never had before. And he's just going to be kind of looking at this scene, and he rubs the barrel again. And if he lays down, would he still have a shot, or would he have to stand up to do that, or at least be crouched?
I'm going to say if you stay standing up. All right, so here's the deal. Because they're still kind of behind this camouflage, if you take a shot from standing up, it's going to be at disadvantage. If you lay down, you can get under the camo, but they have half cover.
Okay.
So it's either a disadvantage shot or they get a +2 to their AC on your attack.
I think he would just lay down anyway to get the best shot, like as a hunter. So he would just kind of lay down there, and he's going to be looking at the one that's trying to escape, and he's going to start thinking about it as like a plump looking cooking dwarf that he wants to eat, and this is his hunter's mark. He's just imagining cooking this dwarbo, and that went out of the box. and that's much worse. So that's going to be 12.
That's going to hit.
Oh.
Oh, wait. No, sorry, because of the partial cover. Sorry, that does not hit.
Yeah, so it misses, and the dwarf probably sees the bullet kind of bury into the ground next to him where his hand was.
Absolutely. Sprunai. I imagine by now you are able to kind of waddle along with one of these big, heavy steel balls. And what does it look like as you're trying to, little goblin you is trying to load this heavy steel ball into this cannon?
I actually can't lift it on my own. What I've done is I've taken like box lids and deconstructed them into like a rail system, and I'm pushing the ball up the rail system to get it to the mouth of the cannon. I can't actually lift the ball high enough off the ground without doing some sort of crazy apparatus to make this happen.
Okay.
Once it finally gets in the hole, you hear like a thunk as it loads into place.
Excellent. And as check one more. Where'd the okay. As this ball thunks into place, you hear behind you, "If I thought anybody could do it, it'd be you, Sprunai." And you look just on the other side of the gun pit here, and there is Captain Winterwolf and 2 bugbears. And
yes, I've sent the others ahead. They're clearing out the trench lines. We can turn this around. There's more on the other side. All we have to do is point their guns at themselves, and we'll take the day. Sprunai is ingloriously taking all the glory from everybody else at the moment.
You piece of shit. No, I'm joking.
So, Captain Winterwolf and the 2 bugbears jump down into the pit, and it takes them a bit of force, but they actually spin this thing around. Where he was standing, Captain Winterwolf. Captain Winterwolf was able to see, because it's a pretty much clear line of sight down here. So he just kind of looks at you and points to the far gun. And then he points to this gun, because I believe this one's still standing. And just kind of looks at you for guidance.
The far one. The others are taking the closer.
Okay, so then they get in and they maneuver that gun around. And do you want to shoot it, or do you want him to shoot it?
Yeah, I'll take the shot. I've been loading this thing. I might as well get some glory.
All right. All you got to do is light the fuse, and it's a short fuse.
All right, then I light the fuse. Do I need to roll anything for it?
Go ahead and roll an attack.
Okay.
And add +6 to it.
Can I apply sharpshooter to this? Not that my extra 10 points of damage will really matter, but I really want them.
I'm gonna allow it.
And I would also like to add my Fury of the Small. So a total of 15 extra points on my roll of 19 to hit.
Such greediness.
Okay, so I gotta look something up real quick while you roll damage. So you're gonna roll. You got your what? Extra 25 or 15?
15.
I need you to roll 8d10.
Okay.
While I see what the area of effect is.
6. Let me open up my drawer here.
It's going to be a waterfall of dice.
10, 20. $30, 58, 67 plus 5, 72 plus 15. 87 in total.
All right. So I'm going to let you describe what it looks like. Now, this is purely blunt force trauma from the steel ball.
Mm-hmm.
But you rolled enough damage to completely destroy the cannon, and I imagine there's shrapnel. And there's 3 dwarves inside this pit. So you tell me what happens.
Yeah, at first, like, Spruce Eye flips a couple lenses, looks, and he looks down the cannon, and he scratches some math in the dirt again, and then he, like, thumps a bugbear who, like, just barely nudges the barrel, just so microscopically to the left. And then he lines it up, sticks his thumb up there, checks for the wind, like all this ridiculous nonsense. And then finally he will light the fuse, and it just sails quietly across the air. And then when it hits, it makes impact with their powder boxes. And the ball cracks the cannon, creating a spark that carries over to the powder boxes at that cannon. And then all of a sudden, there's this huge explosion as their cannon rips apart from the back end of it. And like shrapnel pieces go everywhere. The dwarves are screaming out in pain. It's just like hot, searing metal just takes most of them out.
And everybody that was kind of over in that area, you would hear the explosion from the direction of the first cannon. And you would see this 4th cannon just explode, just this massive explosion. Shrapnel's flying, but everybody's low enough that any shrapnel just flies overhead. And the 3 dwarves that were in there between the shrapnel and the combustion of the powder kegs are completely incinerated. The gun crew commander, in fact, was flash burned from this gunpowder, and for a moment, he's just standing there as a dwarven humanoid ash statue that just suddenly crumbles. And yeah, what do you guys want to do next?
I look at that as the flames are burning all around and the smell of dwarven ash lifts into my nostrils, and I just go, today was a good day.
I spent a full action in awe, just with a small tear, and it's so beautiful. And a puff of smoke come out just from the whole explosion.
Where, Gutstabber, remind me where you are.
I had leaped across and killed the elf next to Rasputin.
Oh, that's right. You had just finished killing him.
Yep.
And then Rasputin moved out. So you're here by yourself, having just killed him. This gun's blown up. This crew's dead. So there's nobody left to run that gun. Gutstabber, give me a perception check at disadvantage.
So with disadvantage, it's going to be a 12.
So I imagine the dual twang sound is what alerts you to look up. As standing on top of the ammo storage are the 2 remaining elven archers. They had successfully gotten over here and moved through cover and gotten to that point undetected, and both of them have just fired on you.
They'll pay.
That's a 19 for the first one.
Yep.
And a 21 for the second.
2 hits.
So you are going to take 8 points from one arrow and 5 points from the other.
All right.
And in the order of things, Crisp.
Yep.
Let's see. You were down here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you didn't even see this happen.
Exactly.
So what are you going to do?
Well, I'm pretty much going to do what I said jokingly a few minutes ago, but I'm going to, admire and stand in awe before the explosion that was before me, and really, bask in the beautiful, beautiful flames. And my attention is really fixed on that for at least a round. Then I guess I'm gonna remember that a fight is still happening. So it's pretty much just for this round.
Grumblo.
Grumbo returns to the fray. Who's left again?
Well, as far as you know, the only thing left is this cannon.
Oh. Okay, is anyone else in the air in the radius of the cannon's explosories?
You know that hold on. Rasputin, where did you go?
I would be somewhere.
That's right. You moved over here.
Yeah, like right there. Yep.
That's right. Okay. So you know that Gut Stab is still up here, but he's outside of the blast radius.
Okie doke. In that case, I just lift my wrist rocket. I switch it to my tiny flamo, and I put on my cool guy sunglasses, and I go, "It's time to burn this bitch down." And I fire a tiny little firebolt at the powder explosive, the explosives.
Yeah, and that sets off the powder keg explosion, which pretty much blows off the back end of this cannon, completely disabling it. It actually breaks one of the wheels.
I turn around as the explosion goes off and like, so what now?
So I picture the camera switching now back to Gut Stabba, and as this explosion happens, I don't know. I just picture this cool shot of close up of you with this blood, sweat, and spit dripping down, and as you reel from these two arrows, and in slow motion behind you, there's this, but almost no sound as the fourth gun is detonated, and you look up to see about 30 feet away from you two elves having just shot you.
Yeah, he's not done killing. He would like look and like he would feel the force of the explosion and like feel the heat rise off it, and it might blow some of his like very few remaining hairs in a sort of direction. But he would see the elves and he knows that he can't like run up to them and just fight them. And so he's going to like make as if he's going to do that, but then he's going to leap into the trench and hide, and then try and sneak up on them instead.
So where exactly are you going in the trench? Bunker or?
Yeah, I'm gonna run as if I'm gonna jump across the trench like I had done previously, but instead I'm gonna deliberately jump into the trench and vanish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's billowing smoke from this explosion. It's thick black. So kind of like before, there's just this, and as that smoke billows across, it clears away, and to their eyes, you're just gone.
So when I'm down there, then in the trench, I'll pick up something like maybe the helmet of a dwarf or like a finger or something of a dwarf, and I'm just going to throw it in the to my left so that it makes a noise, and then I'm going to rush around to the right.
All right, and even with that, you have enough movement. You can get up. You're going to go this way, or you're going to cut around this way?
I'm going to basically climb directly up if I can, which I think I should be able to.
Okay.
But I want to make a noise first, so they might look in that direction and then get the drop on them.
Yep. You can't see it because of the smoke. But yeah, you throw that over there, and as you get up, kind of clamber up over this bunker, then you can see that they're looking in this direction. Perfect.
So I'll walk up behind the closest one. I'll take the knife, and I'm going to put my filthy goblin hand, leap up, put my filthy goblin hand over his mouth, and cut his throat. Hopefully. So this would be a sneak attack.
Yes.
That's going to be almost certainly a hit, 18 on the die.
Oh, yeah.
And then, is he surprised?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. It's going to be... 32 points of damage.
You have assassinated this elf.
Perfect. So I come up behind him and I leap onto his back and I put my hand over his mouth so that he can't make any noise. And I just draw the knife across the throat like I've done many times in my life and also in this battle. And just a spray of blood, and I try and like put his body on the ground as opposed to letting it drop. And that's my turn.
All right. Rashtuten.
So what did Rashtuten maybe notice? I don't imagine he would have noticed Gutstabba get shot originally, because he would have been looking at the other gun when it got blowed up.
I would imagine that when this gun blew up, you would have turned to look that way because you're right here. And I imagine that's where you would have seen Gutstabba just jump through the smoke and vanish. And with the smoke billowing across here, I think this is obscured from you. Okay. So you have no idea what's happening right here.
Well, I think basically given that, he still has this this long jump kind of ability. So I think he would just kind of like gummy bear bounce over the trench into the woods on the other side, here and there and everywhere, and just kind of get around to that, maybe that far tree if he can, kind of headed in the same direction that he saw Gutstabba run.
So you're trying to get over somewhere over here?
Yeah, but in that basic direction, however far he can get.
Yeah, I think you could probably kind of get in this area here. So probably on this side of the trees.
Okay. Yeah, and I think he would just kind of like run up and put his back against the tree and try to look.
And I think as you get in here, just as you get in here, that's where you just see a brief movement as Gutstabba lays the assassinated elf down.
Nice.
Just lowers them down to the ground. Sprunai, after you blew up that gun 4, almost immediately afterwards, you saw gun 3 explode in a fiery blaze.
Yeah, I'll turn to the commander. The line's broken. Okay. Where should we expect them to come up? We need to lay down covering fire.
Where are the others?
Down the trench. They just took care of gun number 3. 1 is us, 2 and 3.
Then he just points to the 2 bugbears, using much more sophisticated hand signals than any of you goblins use. He gives very curt, just points, kind of, he's like, and both bugbears immediately switch out arms into close range trench guns and begin moving along the inside of the trench low. And he starts to move and he goes, "Let's go, Snot Rocket. Rally with the others."
But we can't leave the cannon behind.
There's no one else here.
Damn it. And he grabs his thunder cannon and he starts kind of like marching off, because it's one thing to defy a goblin, but he can't defy a hobgoblin.
All right, so your squad begins rapidly moving through the trenches, and you make it up to about where gun 2 is. Crisp?
Yes. So, I'm about done with being in awe from the explosion. I'll regroup with the others. And I guess for now, regrouping will pretty much take my whole round.
So you've got, the only one you can see where they are is right over here is Grumblow.
Okay. I would go regroup with him.
Okay.
Hi, boss.
Grumblow.
Hi.
Yes.
You've just blown up this gun. Crisp has just shown up with you. As far as you know, all the guns are accounted for. What are you going to do?
I'm going to climb out of this goddamned bunker and breathe the breath of fresh, sulfuric, ashy air and look around for the rest of the crew.
There's not much to be seen at the moment. This area is heavily obscured from the black smoke from the gunpowder. Let's see. The other elf that was standing here at this little ammo storage area on top is squinting in the smoke that's just blown in his eyes. And he actually has not noticed yet that the elf that was next to him is not there.
Wait, do I see this elf as when I climb out?
Oh no, that's this whole where you're at over here. This whole area over here is obscured.
Okay.
Gut stabber. You're up. Having just dropped this elf doesn't notice you.
Yep. So then, having killed his friend, Gutstabba will like get this look of glee over his face with the chance to kill yet another of his hated enemy. And he'll just like approach quietly, and stab him right in the back,
Right in the butt.
right in the butt. So he's gonna sneak up. Actually, he's not gonna do that. He wants to have some fun. It's gonna be the last enemy he kills. He thinks. Looks like they've won, and so he like sniffs this elf. And he's like got his knife and he's like placed it against the elf at an angle so that if he turns around, it's going to stab. And he says, "Oi, pointy!" And then when he turns around, he's going to stab him in the front instead.
Nice.
Wants to see his face. So it's a 14 plus 7, a 21.
That's a hit.
Yep. Is this a sneak attack? I've called his name, so probably not.
Yeah, I think because you called him out, you gave up that element.
Yep, for sure. So it's going to be 9 points of piercing.
Where do you stab him?
So I come up behind him and I've kind of got the knife pointed at his back, like just under his rib cage. And as he like turns, he's going to stab himself almost. He's going to like walk into the knife that he's held there. So it'll probably be like in his right side.
Okay. Yeah, and that you stab into him, and obviously wound him, but it's not nearly enough to kill him.
Yep.
Do you have any other attacks?
I could, yeah. I think what I will do then, when I've done that, I'll take out the other knife and I'll try and shank him with that. That's a critical hit.
That's the way to do it.
So that's going to be, ooh, baby, 17 for that.
Yep, that'll do it. How
kind of
do you kill the last elf?
Kind of grazing with the first one. He like turns around and sees this goblin standing behind him. He would like see the ruin of his friend behind, still like Tarantino style, like tss, 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 like blood spurting from the throat. And as he like sees that, and he like looks down, he's like, a knife comes up under his chin and right in, and he falls dead, twitching.
So, about this time, as you're felling this last elf, you see coming up the trench here Captain Winterwolf, 2 bugbears, and Sprunai moving tactically through the trench. And they come up just as you felled him and are kind of looking at you. But he glances at you, but then he looks, Winterwolf looks down here where he sees the still unconscious battlefield commander in his full armor. And he looks up at you, and he looks, the breeze is starting to blow the smoke clear, and he looks and he can see the rest of you kind of standing around in this area. And he looks at this human dropped to his knees. He looks to the 4 destroyed the 3 destroyed guns. And he just looks at each of you again. And he looks at the 2 bugbears and just says, "Well, fuck me sideways. I'd have never thought 5 gobbles would do this."
Not just any gobbies, sir. Sleazy Company.
Sleazy Company!
Yeah.
And I point to the hole where there's more explosives, and I go, "Also, we have more boomies."
Oh,
yes. Excellent find.
Maps. And he's like rustling through, and he's like definitely rolled over the map several times at this stage, but he still has the sort of crumpled mess that he'll like pull out and like he'll like pull it out and he'll like put it against himself and trying to flatten it out. Here you go.
And I imagine some of these are kind of blood splattered at this point. And maybe a little singed around the edges, but he looks at it for a second and almost doesn't look, he's used to you guys picking up trash, especially Sprunai. He's used to you guys just picking up battlefield trash and trophies. And he just kind of starts to shrug past you. And as he puts his hand on the map that you have spread across your chest, like he's going to push you out of the way. He puts his hand on there and he stops. And he looks down at you again. And then he takes the map from you and he looks at it. And you just see his eyes rapidly scanning. And he looks, you just see from your vantage point, his face is completely obscured by these maps. And then you just see him go, "Well, ways from Sunday." And that's where we're going to end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Great, Sleazy Company.
You guys, that was so awesome. I had no idea how you guys were going to approach that. I more or less ran this as it was quote unquote written. I'd love to hear your impressions, and then I'll just give you a quick 5 minutes of what my setup and the basis for anybody that's watching this later or anybody that doesn't know. So, yeah, what did you guys think?
It's good stuff. I think that you did a great job prepping it. You didn't get tilted when we took down the big baddie in one go. Which he's still there, right?
Oh yeah, he's a prisoner of war now.
Oh, darn it. Crumbo was going to shove a dynamite stick up his butt. But yeah, it was good stuff. And I like that we were able to seriously play goblins in the way that one is serious while playing a goblin.
Yeah, I could not have asked for a better balance of just screwing around but having fun with it, but also taking it seriously. You guys knocked it out of the park with that.
It felt really tactical, which I was surprised by. I thought it was going to be like a real chuckly sort of. I would have been fine with that. Yeah, I thought it was going to be like, oh, we're goblins, and that would have been funny. But actually, it was like this really like tactical
engagement. Yeah,
engagement. It was great. It was really, really tense, I thought.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'm a little jaded because Lloyd beat me to the punch on my goblin disguise. I literally was like, I'm planning to shave him with my axe. I'm gonna put the beard on. It's gonna be great. But no, it was a lot of fun. I kind of liked being the smart goblin, even though he wasn't like super smart. Like it was average human intelligence, basically.
In a room full of goblins, he's the smartest one there.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Which was kind of cool because my character does have like a 14 intelligence, and sometimes I think that we play our characters a little smarter than they actually are. So it was nice to be like the smart one, even though I only had a 14 in my intel compared to the others.
I would say the better word is thoughtful, because my guy had a 17 intelligence.
Yeah.
But he was insane.
That's true enough.
Now, I'm really eager to hear from Adam, because this is the first time I've played with you or seen you in a game. So, and I got to say, first off, that it was awesome having you in the squad. I thought you gelled in with everybody just fantastically. So I'm curious what your impressions were.
Well, it was really great. I had a blast. It was really fun to play with all of you. Was a little stressed at first because, like you said, it's not like I've been playing those online games on YouTube a lot. But yeah, it was really great. I had a fun time playing Goblins and Sorcerer for the first time. And I guess the next one should be, tactical kobold janitor squad unclogging toilets in the academy. But yeah, it was pretty awesome, and like the other said, it was great to play tactically and while being still funny, not just being like, "Ooh, we are the equivalent of sixth graders, throwing water balloons at ourselves, but being dynamite sticks." So yeah, it was pretty fun. I'm hoping to do this again soon.
Well, we'll get to you in a second, Rory. But I do plan on running more of these. I actually came up with this concept, the Band of Bothers, Sleazy Company, and this exact mission probably close to 2 years ago. I know it was at least a year ago. I teased it in AbTab. And then for whatever reason, I never ran it. So I've been wanting to run more one-shots, and I thought, hey, I've already got this thing pretty much ready to go.
You should do one of these for Brigade Con.
I'm actually planning on it. I definitely want to run more. I'm actually thinking about putting together a series of linked adventures for Band of Bothers. That would be something I could possibly throw up on Drive-Thru RPG. They'll all be loosely based in historical World War II. Some of them will just be Fortunately, I have 4 years of U.S. Army infantry experience that I can draw on as well. So I like the idea, though, of the vantage point that the monsters are the good guys. You're playing as orcs, kobolds, gnolls. I'll run some that are mixed monstrous races. I imagine I'll probably hook Marquise in with a Yuan-Ti assassin squad game. So, yeah, I definitely plan on running some more Band of Bothers. I definitely am going to run a Band of Bothers game for Brigade Con. It's probably going to be something orc and Gnoll based. So look for that. But yeah, Rory, what about you? What are your thoughts? You and I have played together a few times now.
Yeah. You've DM for me once before. We played in one of Jeff Doty's games, and yeah, this was a ton of fun. Loved the tactical aspect of it, but just playing goblins was silly and fun. I I knew I was going to end up shooting old gut stabber there. Knew it was going to happen, and it did. But it was still awesome. This was cool. I think that I would play in any monstrous game. Gives you a chance to play things that you don't usually get to play, but you run a game that feels serious when you're in it. Like I was getting stabbed and shot and all that stuff, and I definitely felt like I could die. Yeah, that was cool. I liked exploring the idea that goblins don't usually get along, but after being rescued literally by 2 people at the same time, I thought that Rasputin was kind of bordering on having a friend. Which probably was pretty weird for him. Yeah, that was cool. I will jump in any game that you'll have me.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. I loved everything about this. You guys, I knew a couple of you I had no questions about. Lloyd and Chris, I've played in tons of games with you guys. Just with having never run this group together, I didn't know how well you would gel, or who was going to take what seriously. So that's where I was just like, I was so amazed during the game that we had that. If I had said at the beginning, I think I said, you guys, it's up to you guys to take it however you will. But if I said I want equal parts serious and tomfoolery, it would never have been what came out of this. This was just natural, pure. You guys played the awesome way that you guys play. We all rolled with the punches. You guys one-shotted. Lloyd, you one-shotted my big bad. Just so you know, that was a CR9 champion from Volos. And I was worried because he's got that multi-attack with his greatsword that he does. If he has more than half of his total hit points remaining, that's where that secondary slashing damage comes from. So he's doing, per attack, he's doing 4d6. So he's doing 8d6 of slashing on one turn if he hits.
That's a fireball.
Yep.
I had an escape.
And plus he's got that Indomitable, and he actually has second wind, but you friggin' one-shotted him.
I asked right before the game, I was like, hey, can I have a poison? You were like, yep. And I was like, sweet. And then I was like,
that's what went through my mind. Yeah. He asked if he could have poison, and you said yes, and you didn't tell him what.
That's not even it's not even the best poison. Like purple worm poison is really expensive. Yeah. That one's like an upper low tier sort of poison. It's a really low con save, but he failed.
Just some knockout gas.
Yeah, it was just a terrible con save because that's the one I used as Indomitable to try to succeed on it, and he failed it.
DC 13 is very.
But you know what? You know what? Because I briefly, for the briefest moment, I considered supplementing with a secondary, like a lieutenant or something, and I thought, no, that's cheap. That's cheap. Up in a, I know we're talking D&D and goblins and stuff, but in a real world situation, anybody can take a bullet to the head and get one-shotted.
Absolutely.
And you guys wouldn't have had any reinforcements if I'd have one-shotted one of you. So at that moment, I was just like, no, we'll just roll with this and see what happens. And I mean, he could have taken damage at any point. The fact that you put him down where you did, he was protected from almost any any other attack except a direct attack. You couldn't have done it better.
Yeah, it worked out crazy.
Honestly, as soon as he hit the ground, I was like, well, let's see how many rounds it takes for somebody to injure him.
I have to say that overall, tactically, I feel like the other team was at a huge disadvantage because half of us are AoE blasters.
Yeah.
And they're in small holes.
I almost, when I set this game up, I almost put a no casters on it. And I thought, no, I want magic. I want magic and I want firearms. I'm very much about out of the book D&D with, you know, a little bit of twist. That's just how I roll with it. So I decided to I knew somebody was going to come in here, and when you asked for your fire wizard, I knew you were going to have big area of effect spells. But I had a ton of powder kegs in there. There were a couple times that could have gone severely wrong. And what I did, even when I had the camera down here, you guys probably noticed it a couple times. I pulled a trick. This was equal parts D&D, but with or mostly D&D with just a smattering of ICRPG kind of setup and tactics. I was using countdown dice for a couple of different effects. So I rolled a D4 whenever you set off a powder keg, or rather the fuse. And you were one round away from that powder keg going off when it was caught. And then when Chris used the sending stone hermit crab shell, I put a countdown timer on how long it would take. I also rolled a couple times to see for them moving quickly to see how long it would take them to get there. Real quick. So you guys have seen, I showed you during the game this battle map. I'm gonna actually turn it around so you can see it a little bit better. But this is basically what I just drew in my notebook as the battle. Now, what I'm going to show you here real quick. Where the hell did my cursor go? There it is. Okay. I keep losing my cursor on the screen. I'm going to show you. So you see my map there. I'm now going to show you the actual Lieutenant Winters, I believe, drew the after-action map of the assault on Brerecourt Manor. This is the actual map. So I basically just ripped it off.
Wow.
And I said, I'm going to put this here, but obviously instead of MG42 here, I decided to put a ballista. I almost put a Gatling gun in there, but I liked having a ballista better. And then there's MG42s in the hedgerow, so I put 4 elven archers in there. And then this trench and gun line, there's a communication dugout here, but that's where I put the command bunker, and ammunition storage. That's all exactly almost cool. Turn for turn the Brerecourt Manor assault.
That is super cool, actually.
And then this here was the approach. In actuality, they were only 300 yards up the road from where this was. They went through these gardens here. And then if you watch the TV show, this is the truck, the scrap truck that Winters kind of climbs inside, and he looks down and sees where the guns are. I figured, this is obviously based in a real historical battle that took place, Sleazy Company 506. In fact, to this day, the U.S. Army teaches the tactics that were used in this assault. And but I decided I'm just going to set the table up this way and let you guys, once I put you here, it was all you doing what you did as goblins with a little bit of, your tactics and everything else. And it just was freaking amazing.
So was it similar? Did we follow a similar battle strategy?
Oh, not at all. there was a couple times when somebody got up and ran along the trench, because in the actual battle, Lieutenant Spears comes in from Delta Company, and they ask permission to take out the last gun, and his squad he jumps out of the trench and runs along the side here. But they were using potato mashers to drop in the cannon tubes. to detonate the tubes because Lipton was caught back here in the tree and couldn't get to him with the TNT in time. I've watched Band of Brothers every year, at least once a year for the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's a great show. This is the
I watch
first...
Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers every D-Day anniversary.
Now that I've seen it, like I can definitely remember it. It's the first big battle scene in the show, right, where they go from gun to gun and blowing it all up. Great scene.
Yep. Yeah, it's phenomenally done. I mean, as far as how to populate it, I could have sat here with the monster manual and Volos and everything else open. This is why I was hiding my top part. I just wrote down a couple things like what their to hit bonuses, damage dice were. I gave them each a weapon, and I said I've got archers, I've got crew commanders, and I've got crew. They're all dwarves except for the elves. Basic stats, and I used kind of a take 10, kind of an averaging system. And honestly, I didn't even assign hit points. I just decided early on that all of the dwarves and elves had 25 to 30 hit points. The only thing I used the actual book for was my champion, but I really didn't need that because it only lasted for a round. So yeah, I think this was a great first time of running this out. I'm definitely going to build up a few more of these and run a few more. And just because you guys have played in the first one doesn't mean you're excluded from future. My approach to this is in almost every case, it will be a 5-person game. They'll be done where it's pretty much a single encounter. And I'll probably pick 1 to 2 people and I randomly roll everybody else. I'm not going to tell you who got picked and who got randomly rolled. But I will say that 3 of you got randomly chosen because I had 20 people that wanted to play this. So there's definitely interest in more of these. So stay tuned. And if you're watching this, stay tuned for more Band of Bothers on hopefully Warner Brothers or HBO doesn't sue me. Might have to change my font. I mean, that's almost
it's a parody, damn it. You're fine. That should be fine.
It's obfuscated. I'm good to go.
All right.
So with that, I'll let you each do a quick outro. If you got something to plug, please plug it, and then we'll get out of here. Let's start with Crisp, Mr. Adam.
Yeah, so I don't have any YouTube channel to plug or anything, but I will soon do interest posts for one-shots on the AppTab group, maybe in Numenera, Warhammer Fantasy, maybe Dark Heresy. So just if somebody's interested, I'll be posting that soon. So that's pretty much it.
As you speak, Lloyd's already emailing you like keen. Because he is down.
Yeah, I heard Warhammer 40K and Dark Heresy, and I'm pretty sure I saw Lloyd's eyes light up.
Heretics, you say?
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, I'm Chris with Drop Dice. I happen to be trying to get a Warhammer 40K Death Watch game off the ground right now. Unfortunately, I'm in Houston, and things kind of got a little upside down lately. So I rode out the hurricane with games and tried to distract myself. So there's a few new games on the channel. But other than that, it's the main things that I wanted to talk about. Check out the channel. You might find something you like if you like stuff like this.
I've played under Chris before. You need to head over to Drop Dice and check out his games. He runs some really awesome games. Jarl, Lloyd.
Yep, that's me. I'm Jarl DM on YouTube. If you like to watch players suffer and like Vikings, then it's probably a good place to go. This was super fun, Jake. I would really love to play some more of these. And I'd love to see Gustava get another moment in the sun.
That's real. I'm glad you said that. Because you all survived, I recommend if you ever want to play in one of these Band of Bothers games again, hold on to your character sheets, because if you choose to, I will let you bring these characters back, having done what they did. Yeah, you guys, especially being the first game, you guys characters are all canon. Rory.
Right.
Yeah, I'm Rory. I have a channel, RPGeography, but really you could just watch me slowly build a setting over time, hosting live games like this, only not quite like this. I definitely would really only bump AbTab because it's an awesome place on Facebook where you could play games like this. Awesome games, pretty much as you like, as long as you are dedicated to just getting in as many as you can. So AbTab all the way, and otherwise had a great time as usual, and that's it.
And last but certainly not least, Aaron.
Hello, everybody. I was Grumblow, played by Aaron, Justin, Brian of Table Knights Entertainment. I hope you check it out. And Jacob, it was an honor, sir.
Well, thank you very much. It was absolutely an honor to have each and every one of these players here. Those that have channels, RPGeography, Jarl, Drop Dice, check those out. Check out Table Night, all of that stuff. Everybody here, and Absolute Tabletop. If you're not in Absolute Tabletop, you're doing something wrong. It's just a couple clicks to get over to Facebook, to get over there. That's where I run all my games out of. So I just want to thank everybody again for playing. Thanks everybody for watching. I am Jake of Mini Terrain Domain. Imagine, build, play. Mitade.